Hello everyone, this is Top Romance Stories. Before watching the video, please take 3 seconds to like the video and subscribe to the channel so I have more motivation to produce more quality videos. Thank you all very much. I wish you a happy new day. When Fu Tui was little, her master once said that all things in this world cannot escape the word love. At that time, Fu Tui always thought that love must be the most wicked thing in this world, and that she must avoid it in the future. And so she thought, right up until the day she met him. In Thursday Fu Tui's stream of consciousness. My name is Thursday Fu Tui, a young cultivator who has just come of age. This is my first time leaving the temple to go down the mountain for training. Right now, as I'm descending the mountain, I've run into the greatest crisis of my life. I'm being chased by a large wild boar. Thursday Fu Tui cried out loudly, wailing and sobbing, "Help me." In the forest, the sound of rustling leaves continued. A young man was engrossed in training in the forest when suddenly a dart came flying toward him. This made Kuchu frown in confusion and let out a grunt. Then he hurriedly dodged the dart. The dart quickly fell to the ground. With his body injured by the dart, he spoke with annoyance. It seems that today, you all want. A group of masked people had surrounded him at some point. In this precarious situation, Kuchu immediately understood and said to himself, "You're determined to take my life." Then he quickly drew his sword, preparing to strike. One man suddenly launched a sneak attack from behind. However, he was killed by Kuchu's counterattack. The last man squatted on the ground helplessly. Kuchu just frowned and observed him. The man was also heavily injured and stared at him without looking away. Kuchu spoke with annoyance. "I have no grudge against you. I'm sure you're just acting on someone else's orders. You can go." As soon as he finished speaking, Kuchu turned and left. He sat by a cool lake, then quickly took off his outer robe, revealing a fresh, bloody wound. Kuchu said to himself, after being disturbed like that, "I wonder when I'll be able to find Tien Hoa Dain." Just then, a loud scream suddenly rang out, which couldn't help but catch Kuchu's attention. Thursday Fu Tui came rushing out of nowhere. She leaped high over a bush. Thursday Fu Tui even landed right on his face, causing Kuchu to spit out blood. He sat up in annoyance and shouted, "What was that?" Thursday Fu Tui, in turn, was frightened and started to cry. Then she quickly turned her head and called out, "Benefactor, benefactor." This left Kuchu stunned for a long moment. With teary eyes, Thursday Fu Tui said, "Behind you." Upon hearing that, Kuchu found it strange. A giant wild boar was charging straight at him. Thursday Fu Tui was still terrified and screaming non-stop, silently mumbling, "May the gods protect me." After a swooshing sound, she opened her eyes. The wild boar had been dealt with neatly by Kuchu. This left Thursday Fu Tui no less surprised and astonished. As he approached her, Kuchu spoke. "A thank you isn't necessary." At this point, he suddenly brought his face close to Thursday Fu Tui's. "However, I hope you can apologize." As he spoke, he pointed directly at his face, which was imprinted with her footprint. Thursday Fu Tui was dazed for a long moment. Then she hurriedly lifted her sleeve to help wipe it. "Benefactor, I'm sorry. I'll wipe it clean for you right away. Don't move." Kuchu was taken aback by this action. He stared at her without blinking. The clear sound of his heartbeat made Kuchu blush with shyness. Thursday Fu Tui said fearfully, "Why is it getting redder the more I wipe?" Kuchu immediately reminded her, "Stop wiping." Then he stood up and left right away. "I have matters to attend to. I'll take my leave." Seeing him leave just like that, Thursday Fu Tui called out to him, "Wait, benefactor, you're injured." Kuchu replied calmly, "It's nothing, just a superficial wound." Thursday Fu Tui said, "It's bleeding. Tien Hoa Dain is not far from here. I cultivate there. Let me take you back to treat your wound." Upon hearing that, Kuchu immediately asked, "You're from Tien Hoa Dain?" Tu Fu Tui answer naively, "I grew up in Tien Hoa Dain." Master said that if you receive a kindness from someone, you must repay it tenfold. Let me treat your wound, benefactor, as a form of repayment. Hearing this, Kuchu's face turned serious as he thought to himself, "It's true what they say. You can wear out your shoes searching for something to no avail. I've long heard that the temple is extremely well guarded. Just when I was wondering what excuse to use to get in, this pass presents itself at my door." After thinking for a moment, he smiled and said, "In that case, I'll have to trouble you." Tu Fu Tui subon siko sa shometing Then she quickly turned and walked away. She placed her hand on the boulder in front of her and gently lifted it up. Thursday Fu Tui turned to look at Kuchu and said gently, "No problem, benefactor. It's damp by the river. Sit here." Seeing the situation before him, Kuchu found it strange and thought to himself, how is this young lady so strong? Meanwhile, Thursday Fu Tui continued to speak naively. "Your wound is still bleeding. I'll go pick some herbs to give you some simple treatment. Then I'll take you into the temple for proper care. Benefactor, please wait here for me to return." Seeing that she was about to leave, Kuchu called out, "There's no need." Thursday Fu Tui didn't listen and insisted, "You must wait for me to come back." This made Kuchu sigh helplessly and think to himself, this young lady, why won't she listen to what others say? He obediently sat and waited just like that. The sky was clear, the sunlight was fresh. In Kuchu's stream of consciousness, this mission is under a life or death order. Success means life, failure means death. It absolutely cannot be taken lightly. The wind blew a red letter. As he caught it with his hand, Kuchu spoke, "Speaking of which, that young lady, why isn't she back yet?" The sun was gradually setting, and the forest had become a bit gloomy. The cawing of crows was incessant. Thursday Fu Tui arrived at an old, dilapidated, and deserted house, wondering in confusion, where have I ended up? She, who had no sense of direction, seemed to have gotten lost, and said worriedly, "Did I pass by here just now? Since when was there an earthen house on this mountain? I'll go in and take a look." After speaking, she opened the door and went inside. Instantly, a small blade flashed past. It was held right at her neck. A young man stood right in front of Thursday Fu Tui, leaving her completely bewildered. Truck Q, with his heavily injured body, panted as he asked, "Who are you?" Incense smoke billowed from the censer. Thursday Fu Tui knelt before her master and called out, "Master." She asked in confusion, "Do you really want to send Fu Tui away?" Her master immediately replied, "Fu Tui, it's not that I want to send you away, it's just that you are a woman. Now that you've come of age, you can no longer stay in the temple as a disciple. You can stop cultivating and stay here as my adopted daughter." Upon hearing this, Thursday Fu Tui's eyes welled up with tears as she grieved. "Stop cultivating? Master, you know that Fu Tui studies diligently every day, precisely because I want to one day achieve complete cultivation like you. To become the palace master, bring blessings to the people, and save all sentient beings. That is Fu Tui's lifelong dream." Her master immediately comforted her. "Fu Tui, Tien Hoa Palace has existed for a century and has never accepted a grown woman as a cultivator, let alone chosen one to be the palace master. Fu Tui, your dream cannot come true. These rules cannot be broken, not even by your master." Thursday Fu Tui, still not giving up hope, continued to call out, "Master." However, before she could finish, her master interrupted, "Enough, enough. In the south of the Kak Kwan nation's capital, there is a place called Long Tui Duong. It's a place specifically for female cultivators. It shares the same sect as Tien Hoa Duong. If you're set on cultivating, going there is the same." As he spoke, the master took out a red letter. Handing it to Thursday Fu Tui, the master said, "This month, Long Tui Duong is holding its once-a-decade selection for the hall master. Any woman who receives an invitation letter is eligible to participate. Fu Tui, you have never left my side since you were little, let alone left the mountain sect for another place. Think it over carefully. Do you want to leave this place to live in a completely unfamiliar one, or continue to stay by my side?" Thursday Fu Tui, still with teary eyes, listened intently. Her master continued, "I am placing the decision in your hands. It all depends on what you want to choose." Then the invitation letter flew in the wind, returning to the present at the dilapidated and deserted house. "Tufu Tui Gen Li Lai Juku on Tegun." Then she rummaged through her bag in a worried and confused state. "Where's my invitation? Don't tell me I lost it." Meanwhile, Truck Q was coughing painfully. Seeing this, Thursday Fu Tui became extremely anxious and told herself, "Save him first, then worry about it." At the same time, outside, the sky had darkened and the moonlight illuminated the space. Kuchu held Thursday Fu Tui's invitation in his hand, thinking with some annoyance and anger, "Why isn't this young lady back yet? She's not playing a joke on me, is she? There are even wolves howling on the mountaintop now." in Kuchu's stream of consciousness. This place is near a water source. I'm afraid all the wild beasts around here will come for a drink at night. I need to start a fire to drive them away. Flint, could I have lost it during the fight earlier? The sound of rustling leaves echoed incessantly in the night. Just then, Kuchu suddenly noticed a strange sound. He immediately stood up, then climbed a tree with great caution. He watched intently below from a distance. The person approaching was none other than Thursday Fu Tui. Seeing no one around, she became extremely confused. "Benefactor, where are you?" Kuchu's voice immediately rang out. "You're finally back." Hearing the voice, but seeing no one made Thursday Fu Tui a little suspicious as she called out, "Benefactor?" Then she immediately started searching around. "Benefactor, where are you?" This made Kuchu feel utterly helpless. He then hurriedly said, "I'm here." However, unfortunately, the tree branch he was standing on suddenly snapped. In the next second, Kuchu lost his balance. He fell freely in a state of panic. Noticing the strange noise, Thursday Fu Tui immediately glanced up. Kuchu was now falling towards her. He lost his balance and grabbed onto Thursday Fu Tui's hair. In the next second, he couldn't hide his astonishment and confusion. Thursday Fu Tui's hair suddenly came off. It was a bald head. Seeing that, Kuchu was utterly bewildered and confused. In contrast, Thursday Fu Tui, while supporting Kuchu, calmly said, "Benefactor, so you're here." Kuchu stammered in a panic, "You bald head. Tu Fu Tui gan li zip li. Didn't you know I'm a cultivator, benefactor? Cultivators don't have hair. Benefactor, let me put you down first." As soon as she finished speaking, she was about to let go, but Kuchu tightly gripped the hem of her robe and said, "Wait a minute." With a blushing face, he said, "My back was hit." The fire was lit. In the next second, a fire was blazing. Kuchu sat alone in one spot. Thursday Fu Tui approached and called out, "Benefactor." She asked with great concern, "Are you all right?" Kuchu paid no mind to anything, only to her shiny, bald head. The more he looked, the more helpless he felt, and he said, "Hurry up and put your wig on." Upon hearing this, Thursday Fu Tui obediently replied, "Oh," then quickly put her wig on. As she put it on, she said, "That's right, I've picked the hemostatic herbs. Let me apply them for you, benefactor." As soon as she finished speaking, Thursday Fu Tui, without hesitation, quickly took off Kuchu's shirt, leaving him utterly flustered. This made Thursday Fu Tui a little worried. "Did I hurt you, benefactor?" He shyly covered his body with his shirt, then replied, "No, men and women should maintain a distance. Don't be so reckless next time." Easily pulling the man's clothes. Tu Fu Tui obedini fun lao, zeppling anzai. Seeing the hair on Thursday Fu Tui's head, Kuchu was a bit surprised. "The wig, you've adjusted the wig?" Thursday Fu Tui closed her eyes to rest and said softly, "I don't have a mirror, so I couldn't put it on nicely. If you're not busy, benefactor, could you help me adjust it a bit?" Upon hearing this, Kuchu was a bit startled. "Me? Help you adjust your wig?" Meanwhile, Thursday Fu Tui was still focused on doing something. Her appearance was full of grace and gentleness, her expression unchanging. This left Kuchu a bit dazed. Afterward, he had no choice but to risk it and help her adjust her hair. All right then. The night was dark, the water surface completely still. After a while, Thursday Fu Tui spoke up, "Benefactor, the bandaging is done." With her bandaging technique, Kuchu was truly at a loss for words. Thursday Fu Tui, on the other hand, paid no mind to it and calmly said, "However, Nibao only taught me how to stop bleeding. I can't heal your back. Let's go now to Tien Hoadain to find Nibao for treatment." Upon hearing this, Kuchu was a bit surprised. Now, in the forest, howls echoed ceaselessly. Kuchu couldn't help but worry and immediately warned her, "It's already past the hour of Z. The mountains now belong to the wild beasts. It will be dangerous if we set off. Let's wait until dawn." The fire had started to die down. Thursday Fu Tui slept soundly on the ground. This made Kuchu, sitting beside her, feel helpless. She has no sense of caution. How on earth did this young lady manage to live to be this old? As soon as he finished the thought, he moved towards the fire. However, in the next second, Kuchu realized something was wrong. He suddenly dropped to his knees in confusion. What's happening? The wound on his body suddenly turned a severe shade of purple. In the next second, images of the assassin and Thursday Fu Tui flashed in his mind. Could it be? Just like that, Kuchu lost his strength and fell to the ground with a thud. Hearing the noise, Thursday Fu Tui slowly rubbed her eyes. Seeing him collapsed on the ground, Thursday Fu Tui cried out in fear. Benefactor Ku Chiu gritted his teeth in pain, a bit annoyed, and stammered, "Poison. You." The night streets were bustling and lively, with countless sounds of laughter and vendors calling out, "Selling Tonghalu here. Such beautiful lanterns." Kuchu's mother, while taking Kuchu out to play, asked, "Tuer, do you want to buy a lantern?" Young Kuchu happily replied at once, "I do." He pointed to a lantern and said, "I want that one." In the next second, Kuchu's mother gently stroked his head and said, "All right, it's crowded ahead. You wait here for Mother. Don't run around. Mother will go buy it for you." Just like that, he watched his mother's back as she left. At this moment, a voice suddenly called out, "Hey, you kid over there, come here." Hearing this, Kuchu was a bit confused. The night street was still brightly lit and bustling with people. The children cornered Kuchu in an alley, then said, "You, they're acting tough. Hand over the Tonghalu." Seeing Kuchu stubbornly holding onto the candy, the children couldn't help but get annoyed and shouted, "Hey." Then they quickly reached their hands out. At this moment, a bald-headed child suddenly appeared from a distance and said loudly, "You guys, kids should act like kids. You can't just snatch other people's Tonghalu." Master said, "Kids who snatch things from others are not good children." That bossy child was none other than a young Thursday Fu Tui. She rattled off a long speech that left the three kids rooted to the spot. "An old lady will come and spank your bottoms. Eating too much candy will give you cavities and you'll ache all over." Ni Bao is like that precisely because he ate too much candy. In the next second, one of them said aggressively, "Where did this little bald head come from? You want a beating?" Thursday Fu Tui just scoffed and asked back, "A fight? Are you sure?" In the next second, a group of monks appeared majestically behind her, calling out, "Little junior sister." This terrified the other kids, who quickly turned tail and run. Seeing Ku Chu looking scared, Thursday Fu Tui immediately reassured him, "Don't be afraid." She held her hand out in front of him and said, "They're gone." Thursday Fu Tui held out her hand and reminded him, "Hurry and stand up, pretty little sister." Upon hearing this, Kuchu was startled, completely bewildered and dazed. The phrase, "pretty little sister," echoed in his head repeatedly. Outside, the mid-autumn lanterns lit up a whole section of the sky. Kuchu suddenly grabbed his mother's clothes. Seeing this, his mother asked worriedly, "What's wrong, Tua? Did someone bully you?" Kuchu pouted and didn't answer. Seeing this, his mother immediately comforted him. "Good, Tua, it's our turn. Mother will buy a lantern for you." "Shopkeeper, I'll take that little mouse lantern." The shopkeeper handed over the lantern and said, "Madam, you have a good eye. This type is our best seller. Many young ladies and misses like it." At this moment, Kuchu suddenly interrupted, "I don't need it." This made his mother extremely confused, calling out, "Tua?" Kuchu, with an annoyed look on his face, shouted loudly, "I don't want this one, I want that one." The lantern was no longer a cute little mouse. The one Kuchu chose was a tiger that looked very masculine and fierce. On Thursday Fu Tui's side, her face was now scratched, and she was crying out in pain. "Why did the pretty little sister scratch me?" The torch in his hand burned brightly. Ni Bao looked around in confusion and assessed to himself, "It's late at night. Have the wild beasts in the mountains come out yet? I can't keep searching." Ni Bao walked towards the dilapidated, deserted house deep in the forest, worrying to himself, "Fu Tui, where on earth are you?" Outside, strange calls echoed in the night. Thursday Fu Tui was currently trying to carry Kuchu away. She was confused and tired, muttering to herself, "Where on earth is this place? This doesn't seem to be the way back up the mountain. I feel his whole body getting hot. I don't know how long he can hold on." At this moment, a house suddenly appeared in the distance. Seeing it, Thursday Fu Tui found it strange. That is, looking at the house in front of her, Thursday Fu Tui was a bit suspicious. An inhabited house? The house was brightly lit with lamps. From outside, Thursday Fu Tui called out, "Excuse me, is anyone here?" She placed Kuchu on the ground and called out repeatedly, "Excuse me, is anyone home?" After a while, a person came out to open the door and asked with a frown, "What is it?" "Tu Fu Tui imeditan ziplit viting benfeko. I got lost on my way down the mountain and wanted to ask you how to get to Tien Hoa Dien." Upon hearing this, the man was a bit surprised. "Tien Hoa Dien?" Then he answered right away, "Little kid, Tien Hoa Dien is at the top of the mountain. You've crawled all the way to the foot of the mountain." This left Thursday Fu Tui completely bewildered. "Huh?" The man turned to go back back inside, reminding her, just go back the way you came. Thursday Fu Tui hurriedly asked more, but this benefactor behind me is getting hotter and hotter. I don't know if he can hold on until I get to the mountaintop. Upon hearing this, the man glanced back. The glittering gold and silver on Ku Chiu immediately caught his eye. Looking at his appearance, the man quickly affirmed to himself, this kid doesn't look poor. Then he asked, what's his illness? Thursday Fu Tui replied, I don't know either. He didn't have time to say anything before he suddenly fainted. His whole body is burning up and he keeps sweating. After listening for a while, the man made another observation. This little girl seems a bit naive, doesn't she? Then he didn't say anything more, just reminded her, all right, consider yourselves lucky. Come inside and we'll talk. Inside the house, many herbs were drying. The table was no different. A large pot of medicine was boiling in the middle of the room. Thursday Fu Tui couldn't help but ask worriedly, Doctor, how is this benefactor's condition? The man quickly replied, this situation is dire. This pulse suggests he's been hit with a deadly poison. Upon hearing that, Thursday Fu Tui was extremely startled and cried out worriedly, deadly poison? The man calmly said, looking at the wound on Ku Chiu's chest. Thursday Fu Tui was filled with doubt. Could it be from the sword wound he got earlier? Then she quickly affirmed, it must be that the sword that stabbed him earlier was poisoned. The man sniffed the herbs Ku Chiu had applied to his body and then replied, it's not that the sword was poisoned. As soon as Thursday Fu Tui heard this, she quickly reevaluated. Then could it be that when I left to pick herbs, he accidentally ate something poisonous? The man said, it's not that he ate something poisonous either. The more Thursday Fu Tui listened, the more confused she became. Then it's... The man held up the herbs from the bandage for her to see, then stated firmly, the poisonous thing is this bunch of herbs. This left Thursday Fu Tui dazed for a long time. Outside, the howls of animals continued to echo. At the imperial palace of the Kak Kwan nation, inside the palace, a subordinate hurriedly called out, Your Highness, this old servant has just received intelligence. The shadow guards on a mountain waited, but did not see Ku Chiu and have lost contact with him. At this, the subordinate asked, Your Highness, regarding the matter of going to Tien Hoa Hall to find His Highness, should we send someone else to carry it out? The prince, holding a small stuffed animal in his hand, calmly replied, No need. Send more men. Do your utmost to find Ku Chiu quickly. As soon as he finished speaking, the prince fell into deep thought. Cause and effect are hard to say. For this mission, it must be him. Meanwhile, over here, Ku Chiu was unconscious from severe poisoning. 18 years ago in the Kak Kwan nation, the emperor fell gravely ill and the empress went into labor. At that time, the palace was in utter chaos. Your Highness, push harder, Your Highness. Hot water, bring hot water quickly. The imperial court was in turmoil, the officials unscrupulous. Prince Su, intending to rebel, secretly established the assassin organization Van Mo Fortress, and under the pretext of helping to educate the emperor's only son, Jin Yi, plotted to command all the court officials. This made the loyal court officials extremely uneasy. Meanwhile, the gravely ill emperor was still coughing incessantly. Dusk was about to fall. Outside, the sky thundered and flashed with lightning. The sound of footsteps echoed. The next second, someone ran into the palace to report. Reporting to Your Majesty, Your Highness Prince Su, Her Highness the Empress has given birth. His Highness Prince Su immediately asked, Is it a prince or a princess? The subordinate quickly replied, A prince, it's a prince, and this old servant saw it with my own eyes. The second prince was born with unusual red eyes. This is the appearance of a world-saving emperor. No one expected that the newborn life would change the fate of this entire nation. This, of course, also made His Highness Prince Su extremely displeased. Outside on the main streets, people were also buzzing with discussion. Speaking of our second prince, he is the savior star descended to the mortal world. He was made the crown prince right after he was born. Not only that, after his birth, he was taken away by a white-haired immortal to be taught. The storyteller in the tea house continued his tale. Waiting until he turns 18 and comes of age, he will return to the imperial palace to directly inherit the throne. This was originally a good thing for our nation, but unfortunately, In the 3rd year after the crown prince was born, the late emperor passed away. At that time, the crown prince was still too young and was traveling with the immortal. No one knew which immortal mountain he was on. He was fundamentally unable to inherit the throne. A nation cannot be without a king for a single day. So in the end, the empress and the old officials, under pressure from Prince Su, accepted the decree to install the first prince, Jin Yi, as the regent king, to temporarily rule the country in the crown prince's stead during his absence. At this point, a sharp thwack suddenly rang out. The storyteller continued with a laugh, and speaking of which, it's been 18 years now, hasn't it? Our crown prince has just come of age this year. So why haven't we heard any news of his return to court? Everyone, the affairs of the previous dynasty can be told like a storybook, but the affairs of the current dynasty are not something that common folk like us can discuss. As soon as they heard this, the crowd immediately gave money, endlessly praising, while told. The storyteller replied cheerfully, "Thank you, sir. Meanwhile, tufu tuisha fava suli flaset b." In her hand, she held a red card. The previous night at the doctor's house, the doctor explained, "This is thousand-layer leaf. Although it looks like 9-leaf fragrance, which specializes in treating external injuries, its effect is completely different. This 1,000-layer leaf is a potent poison." The next second, he asserted, "Little miss, it seems to me that you want this young master's life." Ku Chiu's condition was indeed extremely critical at this moment, and the wound was spreading further. Thursday Fu Tui asked worriedly, "Doctor, can the benefactor still be saved?" The doctor approached his medicine cabinet and then replied, "Consider yourselves lucky to have met me. Let me get the medicine for him. After taking it and getting some sleep, he should recover." At this point, the doctor suddenly paused. However, this made Thursday Fu Tui a bit bewildered. "Doctor, what is it?" The doctor just smiled and replied, "The medicine is a miracle cure. I can't just get away for free." "Little miss, can you afford it?" As soon as she heard this question, Thursday Fu Tui hurriedly explained, "But I'm a cultivator. I have no money." Then, she immediately took out her own wooden cultivation bracelet, saying, "These are wooden beads I've carried since I was a child. My master said they are very precious. How about I give them to you, doctor?" The doctor immediately refused, "Don't want them, don't want them," then asserted firmly, "You don't have money, but this young man is dressed unusually. He must have money." Thursday Fu Tui replied, a bit bewildered, "But the benefactor is not yet awake. I can't steal." Hearing her words, the doctor could only reply helplessly, "You silly girl, how can this be called stealing? Is money more important, or is a life more important?" The next second, he took out Ku Chiu's money pouch. Seeing how much gold was inside made the doctor extremely happy. Good. After taking some gold from Ku Chiu's pouch, he tossed it back to Thursday Fu Tui and reminded her, "Kid, you take the rest. After you've applied the medicine in a bit, leave quickly." With the gold taken, only a little was left. Outside, yellow flowers were blooming fragrantly. Early in the morning, the cawing of crows echoed across the sky. Thursday Fu Tui continued on her way, carrying Ku Chiu on her back. She couldn't help but worry and think to herself, "Why is the benefactor so light? Does he normally only eat congee and not steamed buns? Did I give too much money just now?" As she entered a small alley, Thursday Fu Tui spoke helplessly. "Such a large money pouch, and now there's only a little left. I have to find a place for the benefactor to stay first, then we'll see." Early in the morning at a small inn, an employee was opening the inn's doors while letting out Long Yawn. At this moment, a voice rang out. Benefactor Thursday Fu Tui, carrying Ku Chiu on her back, spoke up, "Hello, I'd like a room." Seeing the scene before him, the employee said with some surprise, "Esteemed guest." His gaze, however, did not leave Ku Chiu, whose face was flushed red. His clothes were also quite disheveled at this point. The more the employee looked, the more suspicious he became. Just one room." Meanwhile, Thursday Fu Tui looked at Ku Chiu, full of worry, then hurriedly replied, "1 room." Looking at the silver in her hand, the employee said helplessly, "Little master, this bit of money of yours is only enough for the Huang character room in our establishment. Is that all right?" Tu Fu Tui deeply tasha fai. The next second, the employee led the two of them inside. "Then follow me." As he led them into the room, the employee said, "This is the place. If you need anything, just say so. I'll be heading down first." Thursday Fu Tui quickly brought Ku Chiu towards the bed. then couldn't help but call out again, "Benefactor, wait, could you?" While Thursday Fu Tui was talking, Kachu grimaced in pain, and due to Thursday Fu Tui's clumsiness, his head hit the side of the bed with a thud, making him even more dazed and exhausted than ever. Thursday Fu Tui, on the other hand, was completely unaware of this, and calmly spoke, "Could you bring me some hot water?" The employee could only feel helpless at this scene, stammering in reply, yes. After the employee left, Thursday Fu Tui poured water for Kachu to drink. As she was pouring, Kachu's cry suddenly rang out. "Ho ding dis, tu Fu Tui spoke cheferlin." Benefactor, you're awake. That doctor's medical skills are truly miraculous. You woke up after just one dose. As soon as she finished speaking, she thought to herself that money wasn't spent in vain. Observing his surroundings, Kachu was a bit suspicious. Where is this? Thursday, Fu Tui gently replied as she handed him the bowl of water. "This is an inn. Here, drink some hot water first." Kachu said nothing, only judging silently. Could it be that I misunderstood her? She wasn't the one who poisoned me. As he thought, he stared intently at the bowl of water in Thursday Fu Tui's hand. She suddenly suggested, "You're injured and it's inconvenient. Let me feed you." Hearing this, Kachu hurriedly and frantically refused. "No need. I'll drink it myself." The bowl quickly lost its balance and fell. The bed, for some reason, also suddenly broke, then came crashing down on them. In this situation, Kachu couldn't help but shout, "Careful," then hurriedly pulled Thursday Fu Tui into his arms to protect her. Dust flew up everywhere, and pieces of wood pressed down on the two of them. Seeing Kachu pinned by the wood to protect her, Thursday Fu Tui couldn't help but be extremely worried. Benefactor, Kachu, exhausted, did not reply. She quickly helped him back onto the bed, speaking uneasily. Benefactor, seeing the wound bleeding incessantly, Thursday Fu Tui became even more frantic. "The wound is bleeding. Is it because he helped shield me from this?" On the floor, the pile of rotten wood had not yet been cleared away. As she wrung out a cloth to wipe him down, she dejectedly thought to herself, "Ever since we met yesterday, I've caused you so much trouble. I keep getting you injured. At dis, tu Fu Tui movet kelo toke tiu." Her eyes immediately showed a sad, apologetic look. She spoke before when I carelessly injured Ni Bao. I let him hit me once to vent his anger. At this point, Thursday Fu Tui's face suddenly broke into a smile as she asked, "How about when you wake up, I'll let you hit me once to vent your anger too?" As she removed Ku Tui's outer garments, Thursday Fu Tui discovered her red letter. She couldn't help but smile brightly and say, "The recommendation letter, this is great. I don't have to go back to the hall anymore. I can head straight for Long Tui Hall now." Did the benefactor help me find the recommendation letter? Master said a favor received like a drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring. For such a great kindness, I must do something for the benefactor. As she spoke, she stared unblinkingly at the unconscious Kachu before her. Outside, the wind was still howling. In the tea house, the lively sounds of laughter, jokes, and sales pitches rang out. "Thank you all well told." Thursday Fu Tui asked the employee something, then left immediately the next second. In the room, Kachu had woken up. Looking at the scene before him, he was a bit stunned. Seeing that he had none of his belongings left made Kachu even more confused. "Why am I only wearing my inner shirt, my outer robe, and my money pouch? There was no one else in the room." Instantly, Kachu spoke. It was her. 1 hour earlier in the inn's backyard, Thursday Fu Tui was cheerfully singing while washing Kachu's clothes. Steam was rising from the teacup on the table. Looking at it, Kachu assessed the tea is still hot. She hasn't gone far. Finding someone dressed like a female cultivator on the main street shouldn't be difficult. At this, he suddenly frowned and thought to himself, "She dares to trick me?" Just then, a sound suddenly came from outside. Kachu immediately turned his head to look, then quickly approached the window. Kachu opened the window and was instantly taken aback in surprise. Tuc Mok was hanging upside down, calmly calling out, "Boss." Seeing Tuc Mok in such a strange posture, Kachu was speechless and called out his name. Tuc Mok pressed his face close to him and said, "Boss, I finally found you." Kachu, showing no emotion, just frowned and asked, "Are you a flying squirrel?" Hearing this question, Tuc Mok froze for a long moment. Kachu couldn't help but remind him, "How many times have I told you? Use the main door during the day." Indeed, Tuc Mok's current appearance would make anyone look at him very strangely. After entering the room, Tuc Mok immediately asked, "Boss, where did you go all night?" Kuchu replied, "Don't mention it. Didn't I tell you to wait for me on the mountaintop? Why'd you come down?" Tuc Mok answered right away, "I was waiting for you, but the sun had set and you still hadn't arrived. Those tattletales from the Supervisory Guard Division sent a signal and reported it to the Imperial Palace. The prince has ordered all the shadow guards to search for you. Only after finding you can we proceed with the mission at Tien Hoa Hall. Speaking of which," he reminded him, "Boss, I've been searching all night and finally found you. The mission is urgent. We should set off now." Kuchu didn't say much, just instructed, "Wait a minute, Tuc Mok, take off your clothes." The more Tuc Mok heard, the more bewildered he became. A loud gasp could be heard even from outside. At Tien Hoa Hall, Kuchu and Tuc Mok had arrived. Devoutly paying their respects, Tuc Mok was wearing a set of clothes bought on the roadside for a tale of silver. As for his own clothes, Kuchu had taken them. The abbot politely bowed and said, "Thank you for your meritorious donation, benefactor. Please come into the room for some tea." Kuchu followed and replied, "Many thanks, master." The very next second, he got straight to the point. "Great master, there is a matter this humble one would like to inquire about." The abbot said, "Please speak, benefactor." As they walked, Kuchu explained, "It's like this year my father's birth star is in conflict. Some time ago, we sought a great master for a divination. He said we need to find a young master who entered the monastery in this hall in the first month, 18 years ago, to perform a ritual for our estate to resolve the issue. This humble one would like to ask, is there such a person in the hall?" Upon hearing this, the abbot spoke. "In the first month, 18 years ago, there were indeed 2 such people in the hall." This made Kuchu overjoyed. "That's truly wonderful. May I ask, great master, if you could summon these 2 young masters for me?" The abbot gave a forced smile and replied, "I'm afraid that's not possible, because right now, neither of them is in the hall." This made Kuchu a little displeased, his brows furrowed. The abbot immediately led him inside and introduced, "Benefactor, please come this way. Those 2 cultivators' Dharma names are Don Un and No Sin." Inside the room were many portraits of monks. The abbot said, "They were brought to the hall together by the sect master in the first month, 18 years ago. The 2 of them grew up together since childhood and have a very good relationship. Yesterday, Donan, following the sect master's wishes, went down the mountain for worldly training." Tuc Mok observed his surroundings intently and couldn't help but exclaim, "So many bald heads." The abbot bowed his head and added, "As a result, not even a quarter of an hour later, No Sin went down the mountain to find him." As soon as he finished speaking, the abbot gestured to one side. "Please look, benefactor." Kuchu immediately glanced over. The abbot introduced, "It is these 2. The portraits hanging on the wall were none other than Thursday, Fu Tui, and Nibao." Upon seeing Thursday, Fu Tui's portrait, Kuchu was utterly surprised and astonished. Why is it her?" Flashing back to the past, Kuchu calmly ordered, "We will enter the hall under the guise of pilgrims to gather information. Give me your money pouch to buy incense." Tuc Mok, while handing over his money pouch, replied dejectedly, on the verge of tears, "Boss, can you give me an AOU?" At the inn, the clothes were drying under the bright sun. Having just finished the laundry, Thursday, Fu Tui raised a hand to wipe her forehead and said to herself, "Phew, finally done with the laundry." Then, she quickly went upstairs. She opened the door, but seeing no one in the room, Thursday Fu Tui found it strange. "Where is he?" Then she hurriedly asked an employee, "Benefactor, excuse me, have you seen the guest from this room?" The employee quickly replied, "He left. He just left in a hurry with a young master." This made Thursday Fu Tui a bit surprised and confused. "He left?" But the benefactors wound. Upon hearing that, the employee immediately replied, "Wound? I saw that young master leaving in a great hurry. He didn't look injured at all, and there was another young master with him, so he'll surely be fine. Don't worry, miss." Hearing this, Thursday Fu Tui didn't say anything more, just bowed her head in thanks. Then, "Thank you, benefactor." Then she couldn't help but think, our fated connection has ended. Since the benefactor has already left, I should also set off to participate in the Hall Master Selection Contest in 5 days. I can only wait until after the contest to look for the benefactor again. With that said, she headed into the city. The atmosphere was bustling and lively, with people gathered in large crowds, chattering excitedly. Seeing this, Thursday Fu Tui couldn't help but feel delighted. Then she marveled to herself, "It's so prosperous." She, on the other hand, had no idea that a sinister-looking man and woman were watching her intently and chuckling. On the street, a cry suddenly rang out. What is that smell? Everyone seemed to be avoiding the cart of a man on the road. It stinks to death. The old man, with gray hair and wrinkled clothes, was too weary to speak. A child suddenly said, "Mom, that old man smells like pee." The mother immediately chided, "Hey, don't talk nonsense. Let's go. Don't get near that bad luck." Hearing these words, the old man felt extremely hurt. The cart even got caught on a roadside stone, then immediately tilted and wobbled in the middle of the road, causing countless sounds of retching. A hand suddenly steadied the cart, which surprised the old man. Thursday Fu Tui approached and said gently, "Grandpa, let me help you." Just like that, she helped the old man push the cart amidst the disdain of everyone around. The two people watching her intently from behind couldn't help but assess. This girl is not bad, pretty and naive, the best candidate. The old man, full of gratitude, said, "So you're a cultivator from Tien Hoa Hall, miss? Truly the heart of a bodhisattva." Then he couldn't help but bow politely and say, "We're here once we enter this alley. I can pull it myself. Thank you, young master." Tu fu tui viplit politili, uatukin benfeko. Meanwhile, the two people behind her continued to watch her, and at that moment, they approached her. "Young master, please wait." Is it really you, young master?" Hearing someone call her, the naive Thursday Fu Tui immediately replied, "Are you calling me benefactor?" The woman quickly grabbed Thursday Fu Tui's hand intimately and said affectionately, "Yes, young master, don't you remember us?" Thursday Fu Tui replied, "My memory is not good. Please forgive me. Benefactor, may I ask who you are?" The woman quickly replied, "It's all right. We are pilgrims of Tien Hoa Hall. We once had the honor of receiving incense from the young master at Tien Hoa Hall." The more she listened, the more surprised and doubtful Thursday Fu Tui became. "We only met once by chance, and you already recognize this humble nun?" The woman gave a forced smile and tried to cover it up, explaining, "That's right, the young master is a female cultivator, so you naturally stood out among the male devotees. That's why we wouldn't mistake you." The more she listened, the more Thursday Fu Tui found it hard to believe. The woman immediately coughed a few times guiltily, then changed the subject. What a coincidence. My husband and I were just about to go up the mountain to invite a cultivator. We didn't expect to run into the young master here. It must be fate. Thursday Fu Tui asked curiously, "May I ask what business you have with this humble nun, benefactor?" The woman quickly replied, "It's like this. Our estate has received a promotion, and we'd like to invite the young master to offer incense and pray for blessings in our new ancestral hall. Could we invite the young master to our estate for a visit?" Hearing this, the old man standing beside her found it strange, then hurriedly stepped in front of Thursday Fu Tui and said, "I'm so sorry. Could I ask you two esteemed adults to wait a moment? This young master has done me a great favor. I would like to treat this young master to a simple vegetarian meal first to show my gratitude." This made Thursday Fu Tui extremely surprised as she called out, "Benefactor." The old man gently urged, "Young master, you must grant this old man some face." In this situation, the other two suddenly felt something was wrong, then quickly spoke up, "What's the rush? How about this? My husband and I will cook, and you and the young master can come to our estate for a vegetarian meal together." The old man couldn't help but feel a little scared by the current situation. The burly man raised his voice threateningly, "Old sir, you must give us face." As soon as he finished speaking, the man gripped the old man's shoulder tightly, causing it to make a few cracking sounds. Just then, with a swift sound, Thursday Fu Tui placed her hand on the man's and said indifferently, "That won't be necessary." With a cold and stern gaze, she added, "The vegetarian meal is not needed. This humble nun must be on her way. I will go to the estate with you now, benefactor, to prepare for offering incense and praying for blessings." As soon as she finished speaking, Thursday Fu Tui easily pushed the man's hand away, leaving him a bit stunned. Thursday Fu Tui said politely, "I'll trouble you to lead the way, benefactor." Hearing this, the woman immediately replied, "All right, young master, follow us." At a luxurious and splendid house, the woman led her along and said, "Young master, please head west." Hearing this, Thursday Fu Tui found it strange and thought, "West?" After leading her to a room, the woman introduced, "Young master, inside here is the incense altar prepared for you. You can offer incense and pray for blessings in here." Inside, there was indeed a place for worship. After completing her task, the woman said coldly, "Then I won't disturb you any longer. I will wait until your incense has burned out and return in a quarter of an hour. As she spoke, she closed the door. Thursday Fu Tui was now alone in the room, holding the divination hexagram in her hand. Suddenly, the sound of a conversation could be heard from outside. Have you checked all the incense? Will there be any mistakes? Rest assured, madam. Once the incense is lit, in less than a quarter of an hour, let alone a person, even a wolf or a tiger wouldn't escape the fate of falling unconscious and powerless. Upon hearing this, the woman glanced into the room, then couldn't help but chuckle to herself. The fish has taken the bait. After a while, she opened the door and stepped inside. Seeing the scene before her, the woman was a little bewildered. The lit incense was still emitting thick smoke. However, the window was wide open, and there wasn't a soul in the room, which confused the woman immensely. Here, where is she? Someone come here quickly. At the old man's place, he was struggling to carry barrels down from his cart. While working, he suddenly noticed strangers arriving, which made him extremely scared and worried. The wooden barrel he was carrying fell to the ground, followed by a loud, panic cry. You people, what do you want? At Tien Hoa Hall, a temple bell rang out with a clang. A young woman kneeling before the Buddha statue spoke softly. Great Master, please help me request the most precious incense to bless my family with a year of peace, happiness, and good fortune. Thursday Fu Tui took the plate to receive the gold coins while observing intently. Seeing her looking, the young woman smiled and said, I've troubled you, young master. The temple bell continued to ring, accompanied by the fragrant smoke from the incense burners filling the room. After a while, the young woman left, and the abbot couldn't help but speak. Rest assured, benefactor, the ceremony is complete. The heavens will surely bestow their grace upon your household. The young woman bowed respectfully and replied, I've troubled you, great master. The abbot and Thursday Fu Tui also quickly bid farewell. Benefactor, please take care. The young woman left immediately. The abbot had not turned to go inside for long when a shout caught his attention. Hey, what's wrong with you? It was the two people from before, questioning a farmer. Don't you watch where you're going? The lady's clothes are woven from the finest silk, as light as a cicada's wing, and now you've made them like this. What are we to do? The farmer hurriedly replied, I'm sorry. This humble one truly didn't see. I'm truly sorry, miss. The young woman replied with a contemptuous look. What good is an apology? Tell me, how will you compensate for this? This demeanor was completely different from her gentle appearance before, leaving Thursday Fu Tui utterly stunned. The abbot suddenly spoke up. Fu Tui, let's go in. As she went inside, Thursday Fu Tui couldn't help but look outside and call out, Master. Upon entering the courtyard, the abbot immediately reminded her, Fu Tui, you must remember, under the grace and might of the heavens, people will always hide another face, only showing their benevolent side. But as soon as the constraints of faith are absent, all their faces will be revealed. You must learn to see their true faces, not their symbolic ones. To understand the words they have not yet spoken, not the words they have said. Only then can you understand the greed, anger, ignorance, hatred, love, evil, and desire of all living beings. Returning to the present, the woman spoke, I will wait for you to finish lighting the incense, and I will return in a quarter of an hour. As soon as she finished speaking, the sound of the door being locked was heard. Thursday Fu Tui was helpless in the room. Looking at the altar in front of her, she couldn't help but assess, this place is so dirty. It must have been a long time since anyone came in to clean. Then, while observing her surroundings, Thursday Fu Tui affirmed, how can a room for burning incense have its window locked so tightly? Thinking of this, Thursday Fu Tui quickly reached for the window, then approached the incense burner. She lit a stick of incense, then placed it on the table and gently opened the window. Then she calmly and quietly left without anyone noticing. Still within that house, Thursday Fu Tui hid to one side, anxiously listening to a group of people talking not far away. Hey, back to the house in the West City. This time, it has to be a new one. Thursday Fu Tui's poor sense of direction became apparent. She helplessly lamented to herself, why is this house so big? Just then, she suddenly heard the sound of crying coming from somewhere. Thursday Fu Tui immediately followed the sound. The crying came from a room with a tightly locked door. Thursday Fu Tui tried to break the wooden frame with her hands, and in the next second, she easily opened it. As soon as she saw the scene before her, Thursday Fu Tui was taken aback. Countless young women were locked up and gathered gagged inside. In Baolan City, Tuc Mok sat by the roadside, thinking dejectedly. The boss said, I have to find those 2 young cultivators in this city. Baolan City is so big. Where am I supposed to look? How long will this take? As he thought, he gazed into the distance. Just then, a rustling sound came from a tree. Tuc Mok immediately noticed and quickly came up with an idea. Since they're young cultivators, they will definitely be wearing monastic robes. I just need to stand somewhere high and see if anyone in the crowd is wearing a monastic robe. As he spoke, he immediately ran off. Good heavens, how am I so brilliant? Am I the star of literature descended to earth? Back with Thursday Fu Tui, everyone looked at her and asked curiously, Who are you? Here, to save us. Before they could finish asking, Thursday Fu Tui immediately silenced them. Shoo, now is not the time to talk about this. This young cultivator will lead you benefactors out first, and we can talk later. Everyone quickly complied, not daring to say another word. At Tuc Mok's location, sitting on a large tree trunk observing his surroundings, he spoke. It's been almost an hour. Where are the young cultivators in monastic robes? Just then, Tuc Mok suddenly noticed something. Seeing a group of people below, Tuc Mok was a little curious. Thursday Fu Tui's figure appeared, her face clearly visible, making Tuc Mok quickly realize something. Is that? Tuc Mok smiled and said, Found her. However, as he spoke, he stared intently at Thursday Fu Tui. The more Tuc Mok looked, the more confused and doubtful he felt. It seems a bit different. Outside on the street, people were still bustling about. Thursday Fu Tui led 2 young women in their escape, turning back to reassure them. It's okay now. There are many people on the street. Even if they find us, they won't dare to act in front of so many people. May I ask who those people are? Why do they trick everyone into the estate and lock them up? The red-haired young woman frowned and replied, Those people are human traffickers, specializing in tricking and selling young women. They sell them too. The black-haired young woman immediately continued, Those people are all extremely vicious thugs. We were careless and fell for their trick. Luckily, the young master helped us out, allowing us to escape a terrible fate. The other young women standing around also agreed. That's right, that's right. Just then, they suddenly had an idea. No, we must report them to the authorities and dismantle their den. Yes, we can't let them harm more people. That's right, we can't let them off so easily. Thursday Fu Tui suddenly remembered the image of the burly man, along with the somewhat fearful eyes of the old man she had helped. The more she thought, the more uneasy Thursday Fu Tui felt. Just then, a hand suddenly reached towards her. This made her feel doubtful. The young women in front of her asked, Young master, do you want to come with us? Thursday Fu Tui immediately bowed and replied, No, benefactors, since you're all safe now, this young monk still has important matters to attend to. Let's part ways here. The next second, Thursday Fu Tui left. Tuc Mok also followed from behind, covering his head with a leaf for camouflage while muttering to himself in confusion. Back then in the hall, I saw someone who looked like this young cultivator. The monastic robe this person is wearing is from Tien Hoa Hall. But this hair, whatever, I'll just follow first. Seeing Tuc Mok's strange appearance, people around couldn't help but stare to the point of spilling their tea. In a small alley, 2 men were engrossed in a game of chess. Let's see where you can run in this game. I just made a wrong move. Let me take it back, take it back. How can you cheat like that? Just then, a voice suddenly rang out. Excuse me, is the house of a limping old man who pushes a sewage cart nearby? The man with braided hair, his face drenched in sweat, replied irritably, Go away, can't you see I'm? However, before he could finish, he glanced over at Thursday Fu Tui. Her appearance made them freeze. The next second, he stood up and greeted her enthusiastically. Io, where did this little sister come from? You're looking for that old dung scooper? It's the last house in this alley. Seeing the man trying to get close to her, Thursday Fu Tui could only force a smile and reply, Thank you. Watching her leave, they couldn't help but feel a little confused and suspicious. How strange. Why are so many people looking for that old dung digger today? The next second, they resumed their chess game. Did you dirty rascal move my piece again? You're the one who made a wrong move. Who else is there to blame? I'm not playing anymore. Not playing, you dirty rascal. Meanwhile, Thursday Fu Tui followed the directions to the old man's house. Seeing the messy scene in front of her, she was a bit stunned. Excuse me, is anyone home? Inside the house, everything was also turned upside down. Seeing this, Thursday Fu Tui hurriedly entered, saying, Excuse me. Just then, Thursday Fu Tui was startled and called out in alarm, Sir. The old man was slumped in a corner of the house. As soon as she saw this, Thursday Fu Tui approached to ask, "Sir, are you all right?" The old man spoke with a tremble. "Young master, you escaped? It's good that you escaped." The old man's face was bruised and battered, and his mouth was bleeding, looking extremely pitiful. Thursday Fu Tui said with a heavy heart, "Were you injured? Let me help you see a doctor." The old man immediately refused. It's nothing. Don't waste money like that. Just help me lie down for a bit. I'll be fine after a little rest." Outside the house, everything was still a mess, not yet tidied up. As Thursday Fu Tui went out and closed the door, she thought to herself, "What goes around comes around. This happened because of me. I can't just leave like this." There's still a few days until the selection contest. From Baolan City to Long Thui Hall, half a day's journey is enough. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but glance at the bed where the old man was recuperating. The more she thought, the more helpless and dejected Thursday Fu Tui became. Whether it was taking him to a doctor or helping him recover at home, she needed money. But for now, with this in mind, she went to find the man she had just asked for directions. Seeing her, he smiled and asked, "Yo, little sister, you're back?" Thursday Fu Tui asked doubtfully, "Uncle, I want to ask if you know a place where I can earn some money." Upon hearing this, the man answered right away, "Hitung Pavilion. You can earn money there without doing any hard labor. You just need to talk with the gentleman and have a cup of tea." Hai Tuong Pavilion. Inside, the lights were bright and magnificent. A man and a woman were talking and laughing cheerfully. "Little sister, if you go there, you'll surely be the main attraction." Thursday Fu Tui walked to this place, with Tuc Mok observing intently from behind. Seeing the scene before him, Tuc Mok's face flushed red as he shyly thought to himself, This is a brothel." The man had pointed it out to Thursday Fu Tui. "The work doesn't require any skill. Just talk and have tea with the gentleman." The naive Thursday Fu Tui believed him and replied happily, "Having tea and talking with gentlemen, I know how to do that." As she spoke, an image of her chatting with her master and senior brothers from the old days appeared in her mind. On a bridge, Tuc Mok hurriedly ran towards Kuchu and called out loudly, "Boss." Kuchu asked doubtfully, "What is it?" Tuc Mok answered immediately, "I couldn't find the young monk from the painting, but I met a girl dressed like a cultivator." Upon hearing that, Kuchu gave an order. "A girl dressed like a cultivator? Take me to see her." At the brothel, sounds of laughter could be heard from outside. "Io, isn't this old Master Tran? It's been a few days since we've seen you." Old Master Tran smiled as he walked in. As soon as he entered, the madam asked cheerfully, "Who will you be calling for today?" "Liu Wen O Du Du." "Let me go call them for you." Old Master Tran replied with a bored tone, "It's always the same few people. I've seen enough of them. Aren't there any new goods?" Upon hearing this, the madam whispered, "You've come at just the right time today." This piqued old Master Tran's interest, and he immediately hurried along with the madam. He couldn't help but urge, "Really? Quickly, take me to see." The madam smiled and replied, Come. This way, please, sir." Inside the room, countless lanterns were lit brightly. A voice rang out, "Miss, don't move, it's almost done." Thursday Fu Tui replied, "Oh," then kept her beautiful face still for them to paint. She was now dressed in a magnificent and splendid outfit, and she added a reminder. "Benefactor, you said that just by staying in there for one night with the uncle, you would give me 3 taels of gold. Don't go back on your word." The young woman beside her quickly replied, "Don't worry." "Hey, stop fidgeting. It wasn't easy to get this right. Don't mess it up." Outside, the madam cracked the door open for old Master Tran to see and asked, "So, this is a top-quality beauty. Is Master Tran satisfied?" Old Master Tran's mouth was watering as he replied excitedly, "Satisfied, satisfied." The madam took the opportunity to interject, "If Master Tran is satisfied, then it's simple. 50 taels of platinum, not a single bit less. This price is a bit steep, but this girl is a new flower." Old Master Tran made a generous move, 500 taels of gold. "I want to lift that veil tonight and take her as a concubine." Upon hearing this, the madam's eyes widened and her jaw dropped in utter astonishment as she shouted, "What?" Meanwhile, Thursday Fu Tui was completely unaware of how dangerous the situation she was about to face would be. The first comb brushes to the top, the second comb to the ends, the third comb for a long life together. The guest is shy. The madam dressed Thursday Fu Tui in a bright red wedding gown, gently reminding her, "You can't see his face beforehand. Remember, when you enter the room, you must not lift this red veil." Thursday Fu Tui's made-up face looked incredibly beautiful. The madam kept reminding her, you must wait for him to lift it. Meanwhile, Thursday Fu Tui didn't understand anything, just sitting obediently and thinking to herself, I've lived on the mountain from childhood to adulthood and have never been to the city. The city is indeed more elaborate than the mountains. Before having tea and talking with the benefactor, one has to prepare this much. The flame flickered through the veil. Just then, the door suddenly burst open with a bang. Old Master Tran, dressed in a groom's attire, staggered and dead drunk, laughing lecherously as he said, Hey, time for the bridal chamber. He stumbled inside, swaying wildly. Hey, wife, are you here? My little wife. Old Master Tran couldn't walk straight, and even knocked over the candle placed by the table. This made Thursday Fu Tui feel doubtful and want to lift the veil. However, before she could, she tried to tell herself, no, I promised the Annie that I wouldn't pull it down myself. A cultivator does not go back on their word. A jade pendant was held in old Master Tran's hand. As he approached Thursday Fu Tui, he said, Wife, once this red veil is lifted, the ceremony is complete. From now on, you'll be my woman. The next second, old Master Tran removed the veil. Hearing these words, Thursday Fu Tui was filled with utter shock and bewilderment. What? Meanwhile, old Master Tran was still engrossed in his great affair when the window suddenly burst open, letting in a gust of wind. Old Master Tran said with some annoyance, TSK, where did this wind come from? Always ruining my good time. However, the next second, his eyes widened in astonishment as Kuchiu, wearing a mask, climbed in from out of nowhere, frightening old Master Tran immensely. Who are you? Kuchiu was agile and swift. Without saying much, he just brushed past old Master Tran and struck him on the neck with a thud. Old Master Tran fell and rolled over directly. Kuchiu touched Thursday Fu Tui's arm, then said softly, follow me. Old Master Tran shouted angrily, damn it, what do you think you're doing? As he spoke, he threw something at Kuchiu. Kuchiu just turned his head and looked back with an extremely cold, sharp eye. He held Thursday Fu Tui tightly, then easily dodged the jade pendant thrown by old Master Tran. The jade pendant thus shattered with a crash on the cold ground. Thursday Fu Tui's head covering came off right after that. Outside, everyone was still unaware of what was happening. The wedding room door was slammed shut, and everyone cheerfully shouted, the wedding ceremony is complete. The next second, a gong was sounded to announce it. The full moon ends the ceremony. Raise a cup to toast the new groom, only hoping that heaven grants the beauty's wish to marry a talented gentleman. At that moment, Thursday Fu Tui and Kuchiu looked into each other's eyes in the middle of the wedding room. As soon as she saw Kuchiu, Thursday Fu Tui recognized him immediately. It's you. From outside the brothel, a loud voice shouted, men, seize them. Old Master Tran pointed straight ahead and ordered, don't let them escape. Meanwhile, was getting to Fu Tui away. As they ran, Thursday Fu Tui stared at him intently without looking away. Meanwhile, the shouts from behind still echoed, seize them. The whole street seemed to erupt into a clamor more lively than ever. A group of people hurriedly gave chase. They quickly split up to search. You few go that way. You guys go this way. Reaching a small alley, Kuchiu suddenly stopped. This made Thursday Fu Tui a little curious. Benefactor? Kuchiu didn't say much, only remarking, your wedding dress is too conspicuous. We can't escape from here wearing it. It was indeed true. Thursday Fu Tui's bright red dress was extremely eye-catching. The next second, Kuchiu directly took it off, then also quickly took off his own clothes. He quickly used his own clothes to cover Thursday Fu Tui. She was now wearing a different outfit. Kuchiu hurriedly held out his hand, then smiled and said, let's go. Thursday Fu Tui looked at him without taking her eyes off him, her cheeks already slightly flushed. And just like that, the two of them left the wedding clothes behind and departed. The atmosphere outside in the city was still bustling and lively, with lanterns brightly illuminating every corner of the street, people coming and going amidst the bustling sounds of laughter. Look here, candied Hawthorne's fruit candies here. Customer, please hold it carefully. Just then, a group of people arrived from somewhere, shouting loudly, move aside, everyone move aside. Search every single person on this street for me. Don't even let a fly pass. Seeing that group of people, everyone became a little annoyed and irritated. What's going on? Is it that Tran family's gang again? Thursday Fu Tui couldn't help but feel a little worried in this situation and called out Benefactor. Kuchiu quickly placed a hand on her shoulder, then gently reassured her, "Don't be afraid." Seeing them being intimate right in the middle of the street made the people around them a little amused. TSK, 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 young people these days. This directly caught the attention of one of the Tran family's men. "Hey, you old hat, what did you say?" The vendor immediately replied, "No, I wasn't talking about you, sir. I was talking about those two over there." This startled Kuchiu and Thursday Fu Tui, making them worried. Tu Fu Tui huden galet o benfek o. Kuchiu quickly reminded her, "Don't move." Then, his heart filled with impatience. Why aren't they here yet? Just then, a vendor suddenly greeted them. "Young master, young miss, would you like to look at some powder? My shop's liquid powder is the best on this whole street." As he spoke, the vendor brought out his goods for them to see. "Please take a look at this one. This is my shop's exclusive item." Kuchiu and Thursday Fu Tui, on the contrary, paid no attention to the vendor's words, engrossed in observing the situation behind them. The Tran family's men were searching all over the street. "Hey, you go over there and check." "All right." Seeing that the two didn't answer him, the vendor immediately switched products. "Huh, you don't like this one? I have other types too. Please take a look at this one." Just as the vendor finished speaking, the powder box in his hand was suddenly taken by Kuchiu. He hurriedly opened the powder box, then sprinkled it all over Thursday Fu Tui's face. He kept applying the powder on Thursday Fu Tui's face, much to her confusion. "Benefactor." She had so much applied that her face was dizzy, and she hurriedly said, "Benefactor, stop applying it." Because of too much powder on her face, Thursday Fu Tui coughed dryly. Seeing this, Kuchiu couldn't help but apologize immediately. Sorry. The Tran family's men had now noticed the two of them and quickly warned them, "Hey, you two, stay right there, don't move." The two didn't listen and immediately left. Seeing this, the Tran family's men hurriedly chased after them, shouting, "I'm talking to you, stop." Just then, a red wedding dress suddenly flickered across the street. The moment they saw it, the Tran family's men were immediately drawn to it. A person wearing a red outfit was running through the street, causing the Tran family's men to mistake them and quickly give chase. "Over there, get her, don't run." And just like that, all of them left. Only when the situation was resolved could Kuchiu and Thursday Fu Tui breathe a sigh of relief. However, they were a bit startled by their current proximity. Kuchiu and Thursday Fu Tui hastily and shyly avoided each other, turning their backs to one another. "The two of us are too conspicuous. We can't stay here for long. We must find a safe place." Upon hearing this, Thursday Fu Tui was a bit dazed, then hastily replied, "I know where to go." The sky was gradually darkening. The cawing of crows echoed throughout the city, the sound of rustling leaves. Just as they entered the deep forest, the Tran family's men stopped to observe their surroundings intently. "We saw them running here, so why are they nowhere to be seen? Go search over there. Quickly follow me." The person in red attire had now hidden up in a tall tree. That person was none other than Tuc Mach. He couldn't help but let out a tired sigh of relief, finally shook them off. Tuc Mach painfully whined to himself. Why is it that this hero, saving the damsel in distress business, never falls to me? Returning to the past, at that time, Tuc Mach smiled and said to Kuchiu, "Boss, drawing the long one means covering the rear. Drawing the short one means going to save Fu Tui." Kuchiu drew the long one. Tuc Mach drew the short one. Upon seeing this, Tuc Mach immediately cheered with a bright smile. "Hey, I'm a short one. Kuchiu didn't say much, just broke his own stick, then threw it towards Tuc Mach and calmly said, "I'm going to save her." This left Tuc Mach unable to help but be stunned and astonished, his mouth agape. The night was dark with a bright, clear moon, the space so quiet you could hear the rustling of leaves. Thursday Fu Tui led Kuchiu to a small house. Kuchiu obediently let her lead him by the hand, their two hands clasped together without parting. Inside the house was a small torch and a bowl of white rice. The old man was trying to apply a compress to the wound on his face, unable to help but cry out in pain with an ah. At that very moment, a continuous knocking sound came from a door. Upon hearing it, the old man stood up and asked, "Who is it?" Thursday Fu Tui called in from outside, "Grandpa." Upon opening the door and seeing Thursday Fu Tui, he was a bit surprised and doubtful, "Young lady." Then he immediately asked, "This young master here is?" Kuchiu, standing beside Thursday Fu Tui, maintained an unchanging and extremely cold expression. Their tightly clasped hands were noticed by the old man. The very next second, the old man immediately understood the situation. Oh, a scenario quickly formed in his mind. A stunningly beautiful nun eloping for love. A carefree knight protecting her for the sake of love. Thursday Fu Tui was dazed, not understanding what the old man was ONG about. Meanwhile, Kachu shyly and immediately pulled his hand back. Inside the old man's house a lamp was still lit. Thursday Fu Tui explained, "The situation is like this. In this city, this humble nun only knows you. I want to ask you to let us stay for one night. We will leave before dawn. Is that all right?" The old man smiled and replied immediately, "What's this about letting or not letting you stay? Why say such words?" As he spoke, he took Thursday Fu Tui's hand, then gently added, "My place here is secluded. Normally, basically no one comes. You two just hide here, and don't just say 1 or 2 nights. Wait until the rumors die down, then go." Upon hearing that, Thursday Fu Tui replied right away, "That won't do. Actually, this humble nun's Taoist robe is very conspicuous. This morning when we arrived at Balan City, many people saw me escorting you home. It's not easy to investigate at night, but wait until morning. Those people will very easily trace us here. We can't stay here forever." Kachu sat beside her, watching Thursday Fu Tui intently. He couldn't help but have a thought in his heart. So this girl isn't so foolish after all, huh? Tu Fu Tui side den. Not only will we be caught, but we will also cause you trouble. As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly let out a very loud burp, causing the 2 people beside her to look completely blank. The old man was left dumbfounded by the sound. Kachu was also as if turned to stone on the spot. Thursday Fu Tui shyly explained, "A hunger burp. I'm sorry. I haven't eaten anything since this morning. I'm so hungry." The old man couldn't help but laugh happily at her words and said, "Wait for this old man to make something for you to eat." Kachu, after that situation, hastily rethought, "I was wrong. Indeed, my feeling just now was wrong." After they finished talking, Kachu went to sit outside. Thursday Fu Tui approached and called. "Benefactor," while handing him the item, she smiled, "This is the thing you dropped. It's something very important, isn't it? Next time, don't lose it again." Kachu quickly took it. Upon seeing it was the necklace, he spoke right away. "It's not anything valuable. If it's lost, it's lost." This made Thursday Fu Tui unable to help but chuckle. "Benefactor, you're lying. Even if you could deceive others, you can't deceive yourself." At that moment, Kachu noticed the wooden bead bracelet on Thursday Fu Tui's hand. Then he said, "This wooden bead." Thursday Fu Tui smiled and replied, "This one? Well, my master found me. It was already on my person. It was probably left for me by my parents." "Oh, right, benefactor. You are very knowledgeable. Can you help me see how much this thing is worth?" With a single glance, Kachu was able to assess it right away, thinking to himself, "It's nothing special. Probably a common wooden bead, available everywhere on the streets." However, he couldn't help but be startled by Thursday Fu Tui's expression at this moment. Her eyes were sparkling and shimmering as she looked at Kachu, causing Kachu to blush shyly and cautiously say, It looks not bad, probably not an ordinary item." Upon hearing that, Thursday Fu Tui's face lit up with joy. "Is that so? That's wonderful then." Kachu looked at her without taking his eyes off her and thought, "This little thing really loves money." At that moment, the old man's voice suddenly rang out, "Kids, come eat." Thursday Fu Tui hurriedly went into the house. Coming, on the table were several dishes that looked quite sumptuous. The sound of snoring from inside the house spread outside. It was the snoring of the sleeping old man. Thursday Fu Tui left an item behind, along with her wooden bracelet. Then she turned to leave. "Let's go." "Benefactor." This made Kachu unable to help but wonder. "You want to leave it behind? Isn't this the thing your parents left for you?" Tu Fu Tui gan li zip li. "I have nothing on me that can be exchanged for money. Didn't you say it wasn't an ordinary item, benefactor? It can probably be exchanged for some silver." Having said that, she moved forward. Tu Fu Tui ge an a fimati slai. "The old man needs it more than I do." This made Kachu unable to help but stare at her. Thursday Fu Tui looked at Kachu's appearance with some puzzled doubt and called, "Benefactor." Kachu replied right away. Coming, as he walked closer to Thursday Fu Tui, he said gently, "Let's go." Unbeknownst to her, Kachu had already retrieved the bracelet for her. On the table instead was his necklace. At another place, the cawing of crows echoed ceaselessly at a large gate that was shut tight. Ni Bao wiped the sweat from his forehead while smiling happily to himself. Finally here, Long Tui Hall. In the sky, a flock of birds soared freely. At Long Tui Hall, outside there were many people queuing up. As soon as Ni Bao went inside, he hastily asked, "Excuse me, has any nun with the Dharma named Doan and come here to register?" The nun quickly checked the records, then replied, "Donan, no, there isn't." This filled Ni Bao with doubt. How can that be? The boss left even earlier than me. He must have arrived already. The mature and grown-up figure of a young man in a purple robe suddenly passed by on the road. That person was none other than Kodam Chu. He also seemed to notice Ni Bao's location. Meanwhile, Ni Bao was still focused on his own business. "Could you please search through it carefully for me again?" Majestic mountains and the poetic turquoise surface of the lake. In a bamboo forest, mist shrouded the path. Thursday Fu Tui asked, completely puzzled, "Benefactor, what are you following me for?" Kuchu calmly replied, "I'm not. It just so happens I also have to take this path. How can you say I'm following you?" Upon hearing that, Thursday Fu Tui asked right away, "All right then, where do you want to go, benefactor?" Kuchu, still maintaining an unchanging expression, replied, "Up ahead." Thursday Fu Tui asked in detail, "Where up ahead?" This made Kuchu unable to help but stammer, his face also drenched in sweat. Tu Fu Tui Dao Bu Flin Asket Furter Long Tui Hon Getiu Imeditan Ziplit. Correct. This made the atmosphere suddenly become frighteningly silent. Thursday Fu Tui couldn't help but be curious. "Benefactor, Long Tui Hall is a place for female cultivators. Where are you going there for?" Kuchu didn't answer, only thought to himself, "I can't just say I want to follow you to see if I can find that little monk named Ni Bao." Then he hastily spoke with a cold demeanor. "What's it to you?" Thursday Fu Tui didn't ask anything further, just gently said, "Coincidentally, this humble monk also wants to go there. Let's go together." Upon hearing that, Kuchu also immediately agreed. All right, they had no idea that since who knows when, someone had been tailing them. In Baolan City, at a small shop, the shopkeeper, upon seeing the customer arrive, asked right away, "Sir, what do you want a pawn?" The old man, carrying the necklace Kuchu left behind, asked, "I'd like you to help me see how much this thing is worth." Upon seeing this item, the shopkeeper hesitated a little. This one, outside Long Tui Hall, many female cultivators were gathered. Upon arriving, Thursday Fu Tui spoke up. "We're finally here." Outside, people were bustling back and forth. Thursday Fu Tui approached and handed the nun an invitation card while saying, "Greetings, I am the nun recommended by Tien Hoa Hall to participate in the selection for the hallmaster. This is my letter of recommendation." Meanwhile, Kuchu kept looking in one direction, watching the group of people not far away, while thinking to himself, "Those guys have been following us the whole way. What is their purpose after all?" As he thought, he trailed behind Thursday Fu Tui. The nun, after receiving the invitation card, stood up and led the two of them away immediately. "Benefactors, please follow me." Kuchu couldn't help but frown and ponder. "It seems they come with ill intentions. I can't let them make a move here. I must lead them elsewhere." Having thought that, he immediately called out, "Hey, Thursday." Fu Tui quickly turned her head back to look. Kuchu announced, "I have to go." Thursday Fu Tui, a bit curious, asked right away, "Where do you want to go?" Upon hearing that, Kuchu broke into a smile. However, the very next second, he coldly turned his head to leave and replied, "What's it to you?" Thursday Fu Tui hurriedly asked further, "Can Fu Tui meet the benefactor again?" Kuchu replied, "If it's fated, we will surely meet again." Seeing her dazed expression, the nun immediately called out, "Benefactor, benefactor, let's go in." Thursday Fu Tui kept her eyes fixed on Kuchu and nodded with a hum. Just then, a familiar figure passed by, and Thursday Fu Tui was immediately drawn to him. That person was none other than Truck Q. As soon as she saw him, Thursday Fu Tui quickly recognized him, thinking to herself, "It's him." Truck Q was walking not far behind Kuchu. The next second, images of the past flooded back amidst her confusion. Why is it him? Inside the temple, many young women were lining up to enter, offer incense, and be selected. The nuns standing outside introduced to the benefactor. The selection for the abbess will begin tomorrow. These are all the nuns participating in the selection. First, someone will come to perform the ritual of renunciation for the cultivators, which implies casting off worldly affairs. Please wait here for a moment, benefactor. Tufu tui vipli, dis humba nun understand. Before leaving, the nun couldn't help but remind her. To ensure tomorrow's selection proceeds smoothly, in half an hour, Long Tui Hall will see off guests and close its doors. Please do not wander around, benefactor. As soon as Thursday, Fu Tui entered the hall, she knelt down. Her heart was filled with anxiety and unease. Isn't that the man in black I encountered the other day? What is he doing following the benefactor? As she thought this, she tightly gripped her pants. An image of Ku Chiu suddenly appeared in her mind. Even the moment Ku Chiu crashed the wedding appeared vividly, his handsome appearance in normal times. When he was masked, when he took off his coat, for Thursday Fu Tui, everything appeared. The more she thought, the more uncontrollably worried Thursday Fu Tui became. The benefactor won't be in any danger, will he? At this moment, two monks gently walked in. Standing before everyone, a monk announced loudly, "The ritual of renunciation begins. Cultivators who receive the mark will officially enter our hall." Everyone quickly held out their palms. Red powder was used to draw on their hands, in the shape of a lotus flower. The voice continued to echo, "Sever all worldly ties. You may no longer marry." Thursday Fu Tui said nothing, her face still full of gloom. Even when the monk approached, Thursday Fu Tui maintained her sorrowful expression, which inevitably caught the elder's attention. Thursday Fu Tui held out her hand, and the monk quickly performed the rite. Outside, a bell rang, accompanied by a voice. "Close the hall doors." At that very moment, Thursday Fu Tui suddenly knocked over the small box in her hand. The box fell to the ground, its contents staining the hem of her pants. Seeing this, the monk spoke up. "It seems the benefactor is not yet ready to sever her worldly ties." Thursday Fu Tui didn't know what to say, only stammering I. The monk smiled cheerfully and offered advice. "Umipa, to cultivate is to seek one's true self, because of karma and destiny. If the benefactor has already planted a seed in her heart, she should not pretend not to see it. Benefactor, go." The temple doors were now closing. However, a figure dashed past, to the astonishment of two lay cultivators, who couldn't help but glance after her. It was Thursday Fu Tui, running through the redleaf forest. The monk's voice still echoed, "Go find a fruit in your heart. That is the path you should cultivate." Inside the temple, the lay cultivator standing nearby couldn't help but ask in confusion, "Hall Master, that was the person recommended by the master of Tien Hoa Hall. Are we just letting her go like that?" Holding the recommendation card in his hand, the monk calmly replied, "Let her be. She should have a path she wants to walk." Inside the card, however, there wasn't a single line, just a blank piece of paper. Elsewhere, Kachiu was surrounded by a group of strangers, making him extremely annoyed as he angrily asked, "Who sent you? What is your purpose?" The group said nothing, only brandishing their blades. Kachiu quickly dodged the attack. As soon as he saw their weapons, Kachiu immediately identified them as death soldiers. Not far away, someone was also watching him. It was none other than Truck Q. Truck Q watched Kachiu intently, with a cold expression. At the same time, TUC Mach finally arrived at the temple gate. "I've finally arrived." He couldn't help but think, following the boss's signs all the way, this is the place. The boss and the others must be in here. The next second, TUC Mach walked closer to the gate to inquire, "Excuse me." However, before he could finish his sentence, a voice came from inside. "Apologies, benefactor. There's a selection in the hall tomorrow. Please come back the day after." This startled him, leaving him bewildered and confused. Thursday Fu Tui ran very fast through the forest. She ran without stopping, a worried look on her face. Thursday Fu Tui ran deeper and deeper inside. Meanwhile, with only a wooden staff in his hand, Kachiu was attacking the group in front of him. He used the staff to block a sword. Then he kicked hard at the person in front of him. Unfortunately, however, the weapon in his hand was knocked away by another person. The wooden staff fell to the ground. The next second, a sword tip lunged straight at Kachiu, to his own shocked surprise. Suddenly, a sword appeared from nowhere and blocked the blow for Kachiu. That person was none other than Truck Q. He helped Kachiu fight the group. This took the enemy completely by surprise. Truck Q gritted his teeth and thrust the sword tip forward forcefully. Blood immediately spurted out. With one move, Truck Q had slit the man's throat. Seeing him help, Kachu couldn't help but be stunned. Truck Q didn't say much. He just handed Kachu a sword and said, "Young master, take this sword." Kachu quickly took the sword. The next second, the two of them were fighting the death soldiers together. Truck Q killed one. Kachu was no less skilled. Just then, Kachu suddenly glanced in one direction. While watching Truck Q attack, he reminded him, "Wait, leave one alive." Hearing this, Truck Q frowned slightly. Then he directly killed the last man. The man's body fell to the ground in a pool of fresh blood. After finishing the kill, Truck Q turned back and asked, "What did you say just now, young master?" Kachu didn't say anything more, just replied, "Nothing." Then, while searching the dead bodies, he thought to himself, "They're not carrying anything, only weapons and suicide poison. It seems they are death soldiers." Truck Q came closer and asked with concern, "Are you all right, young master?" "Getiu imeditan ziplit." "I'm fine." Then he bowed politely and added, "Thank you for saving me, hero. May I ask for the hero's name?" Truck Q spoke, "Please rise, young master." It was nothing. Just then, a loud voice suddenly rang out. "That's him." This made Truck Q extremely confused. Kachu was no exception, glancing over to see. A group of people quickly approached, led by a fat man who ordered, "Seize him for me." Seeing this scene, both Truck Q and Kachu froze for a long moment. As they seized Truck Q, they threatened, "Don't move. Behave yourself." Kachu, completely bewildered, immediately asked, "Who are you?" Meanwhile, in the distance, Thursday Fu Tui's figure was peeking out. As soon as he saw her, Kachu recognized her at once. Fu Tui, Tu Fu Tui. Thursday Fu Tui was panting incessantly from exhaustion. Meanwhile, the fat man was constantly ordering his subordinates, "Tie him up tightly for me." This little nun behind me reported that she suspects you of wanting to harm someone. "Come with us." Hearing that, Kachu was extremely confused and suspicious. What on earth is going on? Truck Q also quickly glanced over. The next second, he immediately recognized her as the person who had saved him in the temple that day. Why is it her? Half an hour earlier, Thursday Fu Tui had approached the fat man, calling out, "Officer, come with me quickly. A life is at stake." The fat man immediately replied, "Little nun, don't you know the rules? If something happens, you must go to the magistrate's secretary to file a case. Then he will report it to our master. Then the master will." However, before he could finish his sentence, the fat man was immediately pulled away by Thursday Fu Tui. She said, "Any later, and they can't be saved. My apologies, benefactor." Seeing this, the subordinates behind hurriedly ran after them, calling out loudly for the head constable. After hearing the whole explanation, the head constable spoke. "All right, release him." Kachu, full of doubt, asked, "Shouldn't you be on the mountain participating in the selection? Why are you here?" Thursday Fu Tui replied, "I was in the hall and saw someone following you, benefactor. I was afraid something might happen, so I followed you down here." While the two of them were talking, Truck Q still hadn't been released. Looking at the dead bodies strewn on the ground, Kachu asked, "You mean them? You saw them?" Tu Fu Tui imeditan notet. Truck Q was also watching her intently at this moment. He frowned, looking a little annoyed. Kachu blushed shyly and said, "You worried for nothing. I'll take you back. Go and obediently participate in your selection." Thursday Fu Tui said, "I can't go back anymore." Hearing this, Kachu found it strange. Thursday Fu Tui calmly continued, "Long Tui Hall has been sealed to prepare for tomorrow's selection. No one can enter now." Upon hearing this, Kachu immediately asked, "You gave up the selection for me?" Thursday Fu Tui looked at him and replied, "A life is more important anyway." This humble nun's mind was not at peace, so I couldn't continue with the cinnabar ritual. Kachu suddenly stared at her intently. Then he unconsciously reached out to touch Thursday Fu Tui's head. However, before he could do anything, a voice stopped him. "What are you doing?" This made both of them freeze. The head constable asked authoritatively, "You young people, do you have any decorum at all?" Pointing at the bodies in front of him, the head constable continued, "These men have nothing on them that can identify them, only poison. Just as you said, they are death soldiers. But with so many people dead, you two still have to come with us to the yamen to write a statement. You two young masters, if you please." Truck Q and Ku Chu were escorted to the yamen. Meanwhile, Thursday Fu Tui turned to leave. Seeing this, he grabbed her hand and asked, "Where are you going?" Thursday Fu Tui replied, "As long as you're all right, benefactor, I am relieved. Since I've come down the mountain, I must go on a wandering pilgrimage to train, to prepare for the next selection. I'm afraid this time it's a real farewell. Benefactor, Beastmaster, take care. Hearing this, Kachu was a bit stunned, and his grip on her hand loosened. Watching Thursday Fu Twee's departing figure, Kachu couldn't help but call out, "Wait." However, before the words could leave his mouth, his mind was in turmoil. What am I doing? She has to travel and train, while I have to find the crown prince. The two of us are destined to walk different paths. Just like that, the two of them went their separate ways. The constable spoke up, "Young master, we should go." At this moment, Truck Q was holding something in his hand. Then he threw it out. The small ball rolled on the ground, then appeared right in front of a small monkey. Kuchu followed the constable, while Thursday, Fu Tui went in her own direction. Honim eko evu Fu Tui, Fu Tui. The clattering sound of a wooden cart's wheels was heard. Hearing the call, a curious Thursday Fu Tui turned her head to look. It was none other than Ni Bao calling her. Inside the cart was also Ko Dam Chu. Ni Bao, sitting on the cart, continued to call out loudly, "Fu Tui." A horse neighed loudly, and as soon as the cart stopped, Thursday Fu Tui approached and called out to Ni Bao. Tuc Mok, from behind, was also running closer and closer, continuously calling out for his boss. This couldn't help but attract Ku Chu's attention. Tuc Mok continued to shout loudly, "Boss." Upon seeing the scene before him, Kachu was a bit startled and surprised. He stared intently at Ni Bao without looking away. In the 37th year of the Tang Seng era of the Kok Quan dynasty, the emperor was gravely ill, finding it difficult to handle court affairs. Prince Su's power overshadowed the court, yet he was not satisfied. He used the crown prince to command the officials, but a strange omen appeared in the heavens. The emperor's star moved into position. The Ziwei star descended to the mortal world. The empress gave birth to a son, born with heterochromia, the reincarnation of the Ziwei star. Thus he was the child chosen by heaven. At that time, a court official knelt before the king and spoke, "Your subject begs to be bold. I implore your majesty to appoint a new crown prince." This made Prince Su feel a bit displeased. Other court officials immediately chimed in. "I second that. I second that. I implore your majesty to appoint a new crown prince." All of them knelt and pleaded with the emperor. Prince Su gritted his teeth, extremely frustrated by this situation. To protect this prince and my younger brother, the empress mother secretly sent my younger brother out of the palace. Now Prince Su is dead, and the realm is at peace. Although this prince has followed the Empress Mother's last wish to act as regent, a country cannot be without a king for a single day. Returning to the present, after finishing his thoughts, Kuchu moved forward. He walked straight towards Ni Bao, leaving the constable utterly confused. "Kid, where are you going?" As soon as Tuc Mok saw Kuchu, he called out to him. However, Kuchu paid no attention, merely walking past him. Seeing Kuchu approaching him, Ni Bao was a bit doubtful and confused. Kuchu thought to himself, "It is time to welcome the crown prince back to court to inherit the great lineage." As soon as the thought crossed his mind, he knelt before Ni Bao and said, "Greetings, your highness the crown prince." In this situation, Ni Bao and Thursday Fu Tui couldn't help but stare wide-eyed and open-mouthed in astonishment. Everyone else was also extremely bewildered. "Your Highness the Crown Prince? What is this about?" Ko Dam Chu was also stunned on the spot. Ni Bao hurriedly said, "Patron, have you mistaken me for someone else?" Kuchu's expression remained unchanged as he replied, "There is no mistake. Your subject respectfully welcomes the crown prince back to court." The more the constable's group heard, the more confused they became. "What's going on?" Truck Q also quickly came closer, knelt down, and paid his respects. "Greetings, your highness the crown prince." The others were no exception, immediately kneeling as well. "Greetings, your highness the crown prince." "Never mind, why care so much, just kneel along." Ni Bao hurriedly said, "Patrons, please rise, don't do this." Then he couldn't help but whisper to Thursday Fu Tui. "Who is he?" "Tu Fu Tui Vipli Dis Pateng Es." However, even she didn't know Ku Chu's name and quickly asked back, "Right, may I ask for the patron's name?" Ku Chu replied, "I am Ku Chu, under orders from Prince Yu to escort the crown prince back to the palace." Upon hearing this, the constable's group became a bit suspicious. Ku Chu, is it that guy, the Ku Chu who would remain unmoved even if Mount Tai collapsed before him? As they spoke, they stared intently at Kuchu. Thursday, Fu Tui smiled and introduced herself. My name is Fu Tui, under my master's orders to descend the mountain. Ni Bao gave a forced smile, scratched his head, and replied, my name is Ni Bao. I came down the mountain to find Fu Tui. Truck Q also spoke up. Truck Q, a wandering hero. Ko Dam Chu also chimed in. This untalented one is named Ko Dam Chu, a wandering hermit. The others from the yamen also quickly spoke up one by one. Iam Tin Mu Van, Iam Chu Ni Chu, Iam Don Bat Gun. This humble one is Lai Ka Dan. Tuc Mok also smiled, raised his hand, and said, I am Tuc Mok. However, before Tuc Mok could finish, Kuchu immediately kicked him aside and cut in. All right, there's not enough space for so many characters. Say no more. Kuchu quickly got to the main point. Prince Yu has given an order. The crown prince must be invited back to court to inherit the great lineage. This made Ni Bao extremely confused, and he hurriedly called out, Fu Tui. At that very moment, a hand pulled on Ni Bao's sleeve. Kodam, Chu held Ni Bao by his side and spoke up. You can't go with him. Kuchu frowned and asked, Who are you? Kodam Chu kan li ziplit, eve andidi site am Kodam Chu. The others from Yamen also mimicked the introduction. Iam Tin Mu Van, Iam Chu Ni Chu, Iam Don Bat Gun, Dis Hum One Is Li Godan. The more Kuchu listened, the angrier he got until he was fuming and shouted. No one asked you. Then, with a cold and stern face, he continued. I'm asking, who is Ko Dam Chu? Ko Dam Chu, facing him, was on the contrary extremely calm, even smiling gently. The current situation was a bit tense. Tu Fu Tui, Funop Gudi Siti, Wheatspa, Godam Chu, Ni Bao. Vedupo yes he. Ni Bao was still in a state of speechless confusion. Kodam Chu spoke up directly. I am just a nameless wanderer of the martial world, not worth mentioning. However, don't you find it strange? His Highness Prince, you suppressed the rebellion of Prince Not Chin. His Highness Prince, you quelled the border disturbances, solving the dynasty's difficulties. It was still His Highness Prince you. His Highness Prince you, for the sake of the nation, can be said to have worried and exhausted himself completely, and now he wants to offer this devotion to someone else. Have you ever thought about why he would do that? Kuchu frowned and replied, His Highness Prince Yu is wholeheartedly devoted to the country. Finding the crown prince to return to court and inherit the throne is a matter of course. Upon hearing that, Kodam Chu sneered, wholeheartedly devoted to the country. If His Highness Prince Yu is so devoted to the country, why would he let a wet behind-the-ears child rule the nation and manage the realm? As he spoke, Kodam Chu pointed at Ni Bao, who was looking on blankly, not understanding what was happening. Kuchu continued to speak. The crown prince was designated by the late emperor, his destiny appointed by heaven. Prince Yu is righteous and respectfully follows the late emperor's last wish. What's not right about that? Kodam Chu placed a hand on Ni Bao's shoulder and retorted immediately, toiling for over a decade, only to pave the way for him. The group of constables standing to one side couldn't help but listen intently. Kodam Chu continued to ask, You think that's acceptable too? As soon as he finished speaking, he was suddenly slapped hard across the face. The one who hit him was none other than Tuc Mok, sending Kodam Chu flying to the ground with a loud thud. Tuc Mok said with annoyance, What the hell are you talking about? In this situation, Thursday, Fu Tui, and Ni Bao were utterly stunned, jumping in alarm and breaking out in a cold sweat. Even Kuchu and Truck Q were frozen on the spot. Tuc Mok suddenly grabbed Ni Bao by the collar, making Ni Bao extremely confused. What are you doing? While dragging Ni Bao away, Tuc Mok shouted, Boss, don't waste words on him. Let's just grab him and run. Tu Fu Tui anso galet od wodiden, Ni Bao. Kuchu also ran while reminding him, Tuc Mok, stop. You cannot be disrespectful to the crown prince. Meanwhile, Truck Q kept his eyes fixed on Kodam Chu. Kodam Chu slowly got up from the cloud of dust, his face already trickling with a bit of blood. The sky was turning to dusk. By the lake, voices could be heard clearly. Wait, stop running. Tuc Mok let the crown prince go. Everyone was chasing after Tuc Mok and Ni Bao. The group of constables was no exception, shouting loudly, Wait for us. Thursday Fu Tui, filled with confusion, asked, Where are you taking Ni Bao? The Yamen runners were also puzzled. Head constable, why are we running too? The head constable, panting as he ran, replied, I don't know, just run. At that moment, countless hidden darts suddenly flew towards them. Kuchu recognized them immediately. He then quickly pulled Thursday Fu Tui back by her sleeve. Holding her, Kuchu dodged the darts. A second later, they both glanced back. A group of masked people charged out from nowhere, leaving the Yamen runners utterly confused. What's happening? TUC Mach frantically ran towards Kuchu and said, Boss, it's a trap. The masked people, weapons in hand, eagerly shouted, Charge! Seeing the crowd in front of him, Kuchu was a bit annoyed and thought to himself, we're surrounded. Thursday Fu Tui looked at the river in front of her and came up with an idea. Patron, there's a way out here. A second later, everyone ran in the direction Thursday Fu Tui indicated. Kuchu couldn't help but remind everyone, run this way. The Yamen runners were about to run when the head constable suddenly stopped them. Wait, the head constable spoke in a loud, clear voice. We are from the Yamen. So what does this have to do with us? Besides, they're not attacking us. And it was true. The other group didn't even glance at them. The subordinates standing beside him also scratched their heads, smiled, and replied. The head constable is wise. As Thursday Fu Tui ran towards a small boat, she said, There's a boat ahead. Everyone get on the boat and escape. Truck Q, holding his sword and preparing to fight the people in front, couldn't help but remind them, Young master, you all go first, I'll cover the rear. Kuchu asked, full of worry, Then what about you? Truck Q quickly replied, These people are targeting you. I have my own way to escape. After TUC Mach and Ni Bao helped each other get on the boat, Thursday Fu Tui couldn't help but look towards Kuchu and shout, Beastmaster, over here. Ni Bao and TUC Mach on the boat also quickly called out, Boss, Fu Tui, hurry up and get on. Seeing Thursday Fu Tui standing there dazed, Kuchu immediately reminded her, What are you waiting for me for? Hurry up and get on the boat. Thursday Fu Tui didn't say much, just pushed Kuchu with her hand. This left the three of them utterly stunned and surprised. Ni Bao shouted, Fu Tui. Kuchu, just as bewildered and confused, spoke up. Mississippi Thursday Fu Tui said nothing, just pushed the boat with her hand. Instantly, with her strength, the boat quickly moved away. Ni Bao en get you, filet with wadi, shouted loudly, Fu Tui. At this moment, Thursday Fu Tui suddenly leaped into the river. Her face, in contrast, was completely calm. Thursday Fu Tui fell with a splash. This made Ni Bao more worried and anxious than ever, quickly urging, Go back, quickly turn back, over there, quick. TUC Mach hurriedly used the boat pole to follow the direction. However, the next second, all three of them couldn't hide their shocked astonishment and gaped. What Kuchu grabbed was only her leftover wig. That made everyone bewildered and confused, shouting loudly. How could this be? On the small boat, he didn't hesitate to dive in. In the cold water, he also saw her. Ni Bao, on the boat, called out worriedly, Patron. As for TUC Mach, he looked at the wig as if he was about to faint. What is this? After a while, he finally brought her onto the boat. Seeing this, Ni Bao immediately asked, How is Fu Tui? He didn't answer, just looked at her worriedly. She had stopped breathing. There was nothing he could do. With that thought, he bent down, intending to give her artificial respiration. Forgive the impoliteness, but it's hard to say if it was fortunate or unfortunate that she woke up right at this moment. She sprayed water right into his face. His face froze while she coughed violently. Ni Bao was so happy he was about to cry. Fu Tui, you're all right, that's great. TUC Mach, frozen stiff, looked at him and called boss. She scratched her head and gave an awkward laugh. How embarrassing. I missed my jump just now. As for him, he might as well be invisible. His face was red with embarrassment. Sunset fell on the small wooden boat, with only TUC Mach left a row. The other three were already sitting inside, chatting. At this point, she spoke up and asked, Ni Bao, how do you know that Patron Co? Ni Bao then answered the question. Patron Co, he's a very good person. I met him at Longthui Hall. He was the one who helped me find you. TUC Mach, outside, overheard and was assessing the situation. Kuchu also felt that something was not right. This co-damned Chu was likely not a simple character. At this moment, he proposed, Your Highness the Crown Prince, please return to the palace with us immediately. She then spoke up in defense. But Ni Bao and I grew up together. Could it be that you've mistaken him for someone else, Patron? Kuchu stated firmly to the person beside him. There's no mistake. This was just a story the Empress created to deceive the world. Hearing this, Nibao also refused. But I don't want to be any crown prince. He frowned in annoyance, but still tried his best to explain. Your Highness the Crown Prince, your biological older brother is His Highness Prince Yu, who has always been searching for you. He is your only living relative in this world. Tuc Mok, eavesdropping outside, also chimed in. That's right, don't you want to meet your older brother? After thinking for a moment, knowing he couldn't avoid it, Nibao agreed. All right. However, on this boat, she was the only one he was closest to. He leaned in close and whispered, Fu Tui, come with me. Regardless of whether it's true or false, I want to see it through to the end. He continued, but I don't trust the two of them. The sun gradually set, and the moon had also risen. Their boat temporarily docked at a small town, and one by one, they all disembarked. At this time, he looked around and gave an order. Let's go change into some clean clothes first. Tuc Mok, you go prepare some daily necessities, and then hire another boat. Tuc Mok, beside him, was stunned and then cried out in dissatisfaction as if being exploited by a capitalist. Why me again? And wouldn't traveling by land be faster? And cheaper too. Fu Tui, beside them, explained, everyone would think like you, so wouldn't it be safer for us to travel by water? However, that explanation didn't appease Tuc Mok, who rose up in rebellion. Then why do we have to reveal the crown prince's identity? Doesn't that just make us living targets? Seeing him grumbling on and on, he said, in warfare, one must make risky moves. The more open and righteous we are, the harder it is for them to carry out their schemes. Hearing that, he didn't dare to struggle anymore, just looked at his money pouch and shed tears. Elsewhere, in a serene and enchanting landscape, a slow footstep approached. Kodam Chu walked up and spoke. Your subordinate pays his respects, master. Among them, a familiar figure also knelt and called out, Master. Kodam Chu looked at the person before him with great displeasure, speaking as he extended his foot, You traitor. He gave Truck Q a painful kick. Truck Q struggled to get up and admit his fault. Your subordinate knows his crime. However, Kodam Chu didn't make things difficult, knowing this man was still useful. If you can gain Ku Chu's trust, I will give you another chance to redeem yourself. At the same time, he added a light reminder. If you fail again, I will not spare you. Elsewhere, Tuc Mok entered and reported, Boss, I'm back. The boat is docked at the pier. But because he had spent his own money, he also added a light reminder. Remember to pay me back when we return. My salary savings from the past 2 years have all been spent by you. He just gave a short reply. I know, whether I pay you back or not depends on the karma you've accumulated. Suddenly, a familiar hand pulled back the curtain. I'm ready. Hearing that, he turned to look. It was her in a feminine outfit. She said to everyone, Let's go. That very night, at the harbor where they had stopped, their boat began its journey. Tuc Mok announced, Let's set off. Could you examine the current boat? This boat really does look different from a normal fishing boat. An old man beside them spoke up. We couldn't make a living on shore, so my grandson and I moved our whole family onto the boat. His eyes shone with confidence. Of course, we had to make the boat a bit bigger. He watched in silence without saying anything more, then turned and stepped inside. Seeing him, she immediately called out, Patron. He said nothing and naturally sat down beside her. She then looked at Nibao and asked, There's something I can't figure out. What did you mean by the Empress's plan that you mentioned earlier? As he listened to her, he looked outside and saw Tuc Mok and the other 2 men pulling in a net, lost in thought. Then he turned and said to her, That year, the Emperor was gravely ill. The Prince Regent held sole power and supported His Highness Prince Yu, wanting to change the dynasty. When Her Majesty the Empress gave birth to the second prince, the situation changed. Using the reason that the second prince was born with heterochromia, she followed the will of heaven and named him Crown Prince. Nibao listened intently as he continued. She then deceived everyone by saying an immortal had taken him away, while secretly sending the crown prince out of the palace. Not stopping there, he explained further. Therefore, even if the Prince Regent elevated Prince Yu, he could not legitimately seize the throne, and His Highness Prince Yu used that pretext to eliminate the Prince Regent. Nibao no longer resisted. So you're saying I really am. But my parents? At this moment, she sympathized with Nibao, her eyes looking at him. Patron. But that patron named Ko said, Nibao. She was about to say more when a loud shout came from outside. Wow, what a big fish. Tuc Mok excitedly brought it out to show off. Look at this. Isn't this fish huge? The boat owner laughed. You honored guests are truly lucky. As his hands worked, he explained, This type of fish is fresh, delicious, and has few bones. It's extremely tasty to eat. In the next step, he threw it back into the water. It's very difficult to catch one. The boat continued to travel peacefully, and the boat owner suggested, "Let this old man go prepare it for you honored guests to taste." Tuc Mok also followed excitedly. "I'll come help too." Suddenly from afar, what the old man threw down had been spotted. A woman saw it and sneered. Back on this boat, their group was like having a feast. Karma is cyclical. Good and evil will be repaid. A delicious plate of fish was laid out before them. With this body, I will absolve the karmic consequences of all living beings. The four people froze stiff at what they had just heard. Shi and Ni Bao clasped their hands as part of the meal. "Namo, the old man didn't know what to do. My apologies, honored guests. I didn't know you were cultivators. I didn't prepare vegetarian food." On the contrary, Shi and Ni Bao were very satisfied. "It's all right. This humble monk is fine with just this bowl of hot rice." At this point, he looked at the food and asked, "Old man, you only prepare these things on the boat. You and your grandson live on the boat year-round? It doesn't seem like enough, does it?" The old man replied, "I originally wanted to go ashore to get some things, but wasn't it because you honored guests were in a hurry to depart? So I thought I'd do it after we reached the capital city." His eyebrows furrowed as he continued to probe. "May I ask, old man, the capital city is to the north, so why are we heading south?" At this, the old man became flustered. "Honored guest, there's something you don't know. This route has many river pirates. This way is safer." Hearing something was off, he explained, "The waterways to the capital city are all protected by the Navy. Any river pirates that appear are immediately eliminated." On the small boat, suddenly only his voice remained. "You travel by boat year-round. You couldn't possibly not know even this, could you?" The child who had been sitting next to the old man finally looked up, pulling out a weapon from behind him. These actions were caught by her eyes. He leaped onto the table. She went to him and shouted loudly, "Patron, be careful." The other guy was swinging his sword wildly. He was a bit surprised at first, but he handled these cheap tricks with ease, immediately subduing the opponent. Child's play. Tuc Mok's side was also finished. "Boss, what should we do with them?" He gave the order while going outside with everyone, fearing they had accomplices. "Tie them up first, dock the boat." Suddenly, she felt dizzy. "Ni Bao, why am I so dizzy?" Ni Bao was not much better. "Me too." He looked at the two of them, knowing something serious had happened. "We're done for. I'm afraid the food was drugged." He turned and said to Tuc Mok, "Tuc Mok, dock the boat, quickly." But it seemed their luck had run out today. Tuc Mok pointed ahead. "Boss, look." He also seemed unwell, struggling to get up and look. "Firelight? What is that?" In the distance, a fleet of boats was approaching. River pirates. Their boat seemed to be surrounded. Both he and Tuc Mok could no longer hold on. "Boss, I'm so dizzy." His breathing was heavy. "Damn it, we were careless." A large boat docked in front of them, and a woman disembarked. She was like a beauty from the ocean, she said with delight. "Tonight's harvest." She walked over and lifted his chin. "Not bad, huh?" In the prison, two guards were constantly offering each other drinks. "Come on, brother, fill it up." The other one savored it. "Good wine. Let's drink our fill today." Their voices rang out, and in front of their wine cups were the group of them in the cell. Bottoms up. The sound of laughter and chatter made her groggily open her eyes. These two little rascals, sneaking off to drink behind my back again. Stood up, sat down. She wondered, "Where am I?" Turning to look, she saw that woman outside. The person who had kidnapped them was now dead drunk. Finally awake? Which was a little startled when she saw her. "Who is she?" At this moment, the other girl sat down and looked straight at their group. "Tell me where you live. Write a letter telling your family to bring money to ransom you. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." Hearing this, he stood up. She called out, "Patron." He looked at the group and asked, "Who are you?" The girl, sitting with her legs crossed and holding a wine jug, introduced herself. "This place is Lu Tui Camp, the territory of Hong Lu. As long as you obediently hand over the ransom, I guarantee you can leave here completely unscathed." He looked at the people before him with contempt. "So you're just petty river pirates, hiding in ditches and doing these shameless deeds." Hong Lu, both drunk and hiccuping, asked back, "You government lackey, what did you say?" She started to drunkenly yell, "Are you waiting for me to come and deal with you?" He looked speechlessly at the drunk woman in front of him. Drunk as she was, she still walked over and grabbed him by the collar. "You're quite handsome, with such fair and smooth skin. Where should I start?" The two jailers from earlier couldn't stop her either, as they had drunk too much. He frowned in annoyance and retorted, "A scholar would rather die than be humiliated. If you have the guts, then make your move." Using despicable tricks, Isn't that your forte? Hearing this, Hong Lu wasn't angered. I really want to see how long you can stay tough. Finishing her words, she forcefully dragged him towards the door. He was violently jolted. She turned and walked away. It's a pity I have no interest in you rotten men. Obediently and honestly write the letter, not forgetting to add a small warning. If you dare pull any tricks, it'll only take one slash to finish you. But the little beauty next to you, she won't be so lucky. Which then walked over to him. Patron. At another port, life was going on as usual. Truck Hugh stood there and saw a familiar boat. This was the boat Ku Chiu's group had boarded when they fled, when suddenly, a conversation on the other side caught his attention. Old Lai, didn't you just take people to the capital last night? How are you back so quickly? Old Lai sighed. Don't mention it. The grandfather and grandson were still scaling fish as usual, their basket full of small fish. He walked over and asked, "Oh man?" Truck Hugh then proposed, "Can you take me for a ride?" This old man was quite lucky to get this offer. Elsewhere, the letter was brought out. Here it's finished. She looked at it with satisfaction. I thought he was some kind of hero, but doesn't he still have to listen to me? With that, she looked at the people in the cell and ordered, "You two, bring that little beauty here to me." He was furious. "You, why do you go back on your word?" She didn't answer. Two men entered and grabbed her. "Don't move, behave." She struggled. "What are you planning to do?" The others could do nothing but call her name. Which, he turned and said to Hong Lu, "Let her go." How can the great leader of Lu, Tui Camp, be considered a hero for making things difficult for a young girl? If you have the guts, come at me. Hong Lu, on the contrary, wasn't bothered and turned to leave. "This is my territory. What I say goes. Take her away." The group shouted her name loudly, which, her back gradually disappeared from their sight, which, elsewhere, at the Ku residence, gentle sunlight shone through the window, revealing the silhouette of a woman. A beauty inside, embroidering. Suddenly, a servant rushed in, panicked. "Madam, something terrible has happened." The woman remained composed. "What's with all the shouting? Is this any way to behave? Calm down first, then speak." The servant stammered. "Madam, the young master, he's been kidnapped. River pirates sent a ransom letter." The madam finally understood the situation. "Tioya?" She dropped her embroidery, unable to remain calm herself. "I'd really like to see who this blind fool is." Voila! She had finished transforming. Daring to bully someone from my Ku family. Outside, the soldiers were ready, waiting only for the madam's command. "Soldiers of the Ku residence, hear my command. Follow me to quell the bandits." The soldiers shouted in unison, "As you command." On a small island established by pirates, the pirates sat enjoying wine with beautiful women. Great dancing, they continuously toasted, "Come on, drink the good wine." Hong Lu sat above, observing everything. She was enjoying this moment. Not bad, worthy of being a lady from the Van Hoa brothel. Little beauty, you come and dance to liven things up. Hearing this, which stammered, "But this humble nun doesn't know how to dance." Watching the beauties dance, she didn't know what to do. Playing instruments, dancing, singing, you must know at least one of them. Her eyes showed a desire to be excused from this. This humble nun is not skilled in singing, dancing, or playing instruments. Of course, her wish was denied. "Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and perform something for me." Hong Lu threatened, "If you keep rambling, I'll drag you out to smash rocks with your chest." She was somewhat frightened, so she agreed. "All right then, this humble nun actually has a special skill for it." Their conversation was noticed by a woman. Back to the jailers. They were still eating and drinking to their heart's content. "She always makes us watch the prison. The great leader is so unfair." The other one nodded. That's right. They didn't notice that inside, Kuchu and Tuc Mok were sitting close together, just to untie each other. They had been professionally trained for this, so it was very easy for them to do. Suddenly, one of the two finally noticed. "Olby, look behind you." He pointed at the two and said, "Why don't I see that bald-headed guy?" The two anxiously ran in to check. "Hey, where did the bald one go?" Seeing these guys, he let out a scornful laugh. Using the very ropes they had used to tie him, he now returned the favor twofold. The other guy was strangled in astonishment. "You guys," Tuc Mok did the exact same thing. "You've fallen into our trap." Suddenly, Nibao stepped out, sighing in relief. It really succeeded. As soon as he stepped out, he froze, seeing the two of them mercilessly torturing the guards. "Patrons, you're truly formidable." Tuc Mok puffed out his chest with pride. "Of course, if it weren't for the fact that the boss is still under the effects of the drug, these small fries would be nothing." On the other side, two men were carrying a rather heavy water urn. They placed it in front of Hong Lu and her. Hong Lu turned to her with great interest. The thing you wanted has arrived. Let me see what skills you have. At this, she walked over to thank them. Many thanks, you two patrons. The two men nearly broke their backs. All of them also wondered, this water urn is very heavy. What do you need it for? She replied, you'll know soon enough. With that, she walked over and touched the side of the urn. She let out a loud shout, drawing all eyes around her. Up, the crowd couldn't believe their eyes. What, a 500 gene water urn, lifted by one person. A slender body like hers could actually carry such a heavy urn. Her hands moved gracefully, step by step, spinning the water urn. Even Hong Lu had to look up in awe. Watching her, one could only exclaim in admiration. The incredible skill of spinning a large cauldron with bare hands. Hong Lu slammed the table so hard that the other woman was startled. Hong Lu's eyes sparkled with desire. Innate great strength. So this kind of incredible skill really exists in the world. At this moment, her face was beaded with sweat, her eyes suddenly worried. Strange, why do I still feel a bit weak? At the same time, Hong Lu also came over to exclaim. Strangers from afar quickly become close friends. Little beauty, no, younger sister, you're amazing. She walked over and said to Witch, I've decided from now on, you are my sworn sister. We'll become sworn sisters today. I want to appoint you as the second in command of Le Tui camp. She didn't think she could get to this point. But the woman holding the people was still standing there. Suddenly, a shout came towards her. Careful. The water urn suddenly hurtled forward. The water in the urn spilled out. She ran to support it. Luckily, the person next to her was not injured. She quickly spoke up. Sorry, patron, I was a little dizzy and my foot slipped. The woman holding the people replied. It's all right. As soon as she finished speaking, the wooden pillar next to them cracked. The wooden pillar fell towards them. She ran to support it. Patron, be careful. The loud crash attracted everyone around. On another side, 3 young men were peeking out. Tuc Mok spoke up. Boss, that female river pirate is over there. Hearing that, Kuchu also peeked out to see what was happening. Do you see Witch? Tuc Mok strained his eyes but still couldn't see her, so he replied. Not yet. It looks like they're carrying something. On the other side, a woman stood, giving orders. Just then, they saw a familiar figure. Boss, look. Hearing this, he turned to look and, surprised, called her name in astonishment. Witch, he couldn't contain his anger. Who dared to touch his woman, making him this angry? He immediately revealed himself. You people, you must be tired of living. The man who had let her out just now noticed him. The moment he looked, he was hit by a palm strike. With just one blow from him, the man was sent flying far away. Familiar hands supported her shoulders. He looked at her with heartache. Witch, in the distance, both Tuc Mok and Ni Bao shouted loudly. Witch, suddenly, a white rope appeared, striking directly at him and her. He quickly dodged it, pushing her towards the other two. Seeing her, Ni Bao called out worriedly. Witch, he now looked at the tigress who had just attacked him. His eyebrows were nearly knitted together. This is a tough one. The woman spoke up. You brat, you dare to snatch someone right in front of me. You do act like a man. The man who was hit earlier was now whimpering. Great leader, it was that brat. He hit me so hard. At this, she lashed the rope at him. Take this. Of course, he dodged it easily. On the other side, the 2 men kept calling her. Witch, wake up. Witch, hearing them call her name, she groggily opened her eyes and woke up. Where am I? The moment I opened my eyes, I was treated to a palace intrigue drama. She was startled. Patron. At this moment, he had already grabbed the other woman's rope. Seeing the two struggling, she shot up. Patron. Seeing her, the great chieftain called out. Second sister, you woke up just in time. Help me deal with this stinking brat. Hearing just the beginning, he was dumbfounded. Something was wrong here. Second sister? The witch then stepped forward to explain. Patron, stop fighting. Don't act rashly. Let me explain to the great chieftain. Before she could finish, he had no intention of listening further. Why bother talking to this kind of water pirate who poisons people from behind? Hearing this, the great chieftain was extremely irritated. Poisoning from behind? Brat, what nonsense are you spouting? She then turned to the witch to remind her. Second sister, you heard him. This brat is speaking nonsense, daring to slander me. If I don't skin him alive today, my name isn't Hong Lu. The man who was beaten earlier also stood by and agreed. That's right, our chieftain is righteous and honorable. She would never use such despicable tricks. She continued to plead earnestly. Great chieftain, please calm down. It's all a misunderstanding. They are all my friends. It's only because they were worried about my safety that they couldn't control their words. I asked the great chieftain not to blame them. Hearing the witch say this, she paused to think. Seeing the young girl speak up like this, the great chieftain decided to let it go. Fine, fine. For second sister's sake, I'll spare you. Today we become sworn sisters. Don't ruin my mood. He stood there listening to the conversation, not quite understanding what she meant. Sworn sisters? That night, cheers echoed continuously. The men also joined in the celebration. Tuc Mok and Kuchu sat to the side. He patted his shoulder. Little brother, have a bowl. Tuc Mok's face turned red. Don't be polite. Meanwhile, Kuchu was being mentally tortured. Specifically, the guy next to him wouldn't stop slurring. This guy, are you disrespecting me? Just wait until I call my boss to deal with you. He sighed, too tired to speak. The men also passed out and slept for a long time. His expression didn't change. He looked towards her, who was scooping a huge bowl of white rice. He then walked over and reminded her softly, that female pirate told us to leave early tomorrow morning. How will you escape from this pirate den alone? She stopped eating and looked up at him. Only then did she reply, it's more important that you all leave first. Suddenly, she hesitated. As for me, she glanced towards Hong Lu, who was teasing a beauty. Great chieftain, over here. She then continued her sentence. I have my own way. Suddenly, the woman who had been sitting in the corner from the beginning spoke up. You too, if you are willing to believe Noza has a way to get the young lady out of here. Consider it repaying the young lady for risking her life to save me. Like a drowning person finding a life buoy. Both she and he were curious. What way? In the distance, a fleet of boats was approaching. A soldier came to report. Reporting to Madame, Le Tui camp is just ahead. Madame looked forward without saying anything. On another side, in front of sturdy house, the port was bustling with people. She walked over. He was also a bit wary. The words of that instrument-playing girl cannot be fully trusted. I will find another way to rescue you. After saying that, he didn't forget to remind her, take good care of yourself. She replied, okay. At this time, Hong Lu also announced, the boat is ready. Stop dawdling. She looked at Ku Chu's group and warned, I'm letting you go today. You'd better be grateful. You hear? If you dare to pull any tricks on me, I won't let you get away with it. As soon as she finished speaking, an arrow flew from nowhere. Of course, it didn't escape Hong Lu's notice. She easily dodged the arrow. Tuc Mok curiously looked on. Boss looked quickly. He looked into the distance. What is that? The fleet of boats had now arrived. The character on the sail made it clear who they were. The troops of the Ku family residence. Suddenly, the doors slammed shut. They used a rather sturdy-looking lock. This scene is so familiar. Locked up again. They watched the group of people running. Let's go. While the great chieftain is busy, let's find something fun to do. The two hooligans seem to have found some amusement. This beauty is here. Inside another locked room was the instrument-playing girl from yesterday. The two guys were delighted. What a stroke of luck. The two of them hurried over to unlock the door. Usually, the great chieftain keeps a tight watch. Beauty, play a tune for me. One of them approached, thinking it was an easy meal. Finally, you fall into my hands. Contrary to showing fear, the girl looked very calm as she raised her eyes to the slurring man in front of her. Finally, a fool has delivered himself to my doorstep. But that's life. Who could have known he would be struck down by the girl with a single palm strike? The other guy tried to rush forward, but was too slow. She took down both of them with just one move. The girl then went to the cell of Ku Chu's group. Although I don't know why you all were locked up again, to be found out by a foolish female pirate leader like her. The group remained silent. The girl frowned and scolded them. You all are really foolish. If you want to get out, then follow me. Ku Chu and his group hesitated slightly. Outside, the building was burning fiercely. Hong Lu was standing on high ground, commanding, her mouth spewing colorful language. Where are the warships? Why haven't you brought them out yet? So slow, haven't you eaten? Just then, a man ran up to report. Great chieftain, it's bad. The boats have all been burned. Hearing this, Hong Lu was furious. A bunch of useless fools. You've crossed the line. She screamed her lungs out. Hey, over there, if you have the guts, come down here alone. Hiding on a boat. What kind of man are you? Let's fight, do you dare? Madam, paid her no mind. So there's a female pirate, just a shouting match. I have never lost before. With that, she gave an order. Bring me my equipment. She picked up a megaphone and shouted loudly. It's true that when women go to war, whoever has the bigger mouth wins. I was never a man to begin with. If you have the guts, come over here and fight me. Only now did Hong Lu realize who her opponent was. So it's a woman. The attendant beside her stammered. Great chieftain, you are also. Before he could finish his sentence, Hong Lu engaged in a war of words. You stinking bitch, you come down here, I'll tear your mouth apart. Madam, Ka wouldn't back down. I spit on that. I'm staying right here. If you're so good, why don't you come over here? And so the two women argued back and forth, turning the place into a marketplace with just the two of them. How can I get there if I don't have a boat? You're just scared to come here, aren't you? At this rate, this wouldn't be over by nightfall. If you're so good, come here. Neither was willing to back down. If you're so good, come down here. If you're so good, come over here. If you're so good, come down here. Hong Lu was boiling with rage. She couldn't take it anymore. This was too arrogant. Let me swim over there and deal with you. Her two attendants had to hold her back. Great chieftain, calm down. Great chieftain, please calm down. Madame Ka stood proudly and immediately gave an order. Go. Let's go over and meet that female pirate. Does she really think I'm afraid of her? As soon as she finished speaking, the fleet of boats immediately advanced. The soldiers were also ready. The other side was no exception. The men fought, while the two women directed. I really want to see who it is. Who is so arrogant? When the two came face to face, Hong Lu was stunned. She pointed directly at the madam. Holy crap, isn't this NAMA-MANGAI? You're Van. Madame Ka was no less startled. Dila too, why is it you? And so, the two women shook hands and made peace. Good sister, Dila too, where have you been all these years? Hong Le Deeply, don't mention it. What about you? Why did you marry someone else? You said you'd never marry one of those useless men for your whole life. The soldiers had no idea what was happening. How did a battle turn into a reunion like this? In the midst of a joy, some bad news arrived. Great chieftain, that bitch Hachu. The subordinate pushed through to report. She ran off with that guy's surname Ko. Hong Lu was startled. What? How did you guys let that happen? Van, standing by, took the opportunity to tease. As expected of my son. Dila too. You want to lock him up? You're still too green. But unexpectedly, Hong Lu was instead very worried. Van, I'm afraid your son is in trouble. The one who took your son is Ha Chu. Their group descended into a dark cellar. Leading the way was Ha Chu. She's one of that person's people. Ha Chu looked mysterious and very dangerous. Immediately, the two women gave orders. Surround the camp. Ma Tu, lead a team to search the surroundings. The rest of you, search with me. Even if we have to dig up the whole place, we must find them for me. The soldiers received the order. Yes, sir. Understood. Hong Lu turned to speak to Van. Our camp's boats have been burned and are temporarily unusable. She can't escape by water. As long as she's in the camp, we can definitely find her. You don't need to worry too much. She also tried to reassure her. Van, however, was very nonchalant. The son of Van is no weakling. What is there to worry about? Her eyes held a complex, unspoken meaning. The torch in the cellar was burning brightly. Their group had gone deep inside. The whole group was stunned by the sight before them. Here, everyone was amazed. What is this place? Tuc Mok looked on in fear. We're done for. There's no escaping this. He looked around suspiciously. This is the exit you mentioned. You have a way through? Ha Chu also replied. I have only been to this point. However, I can confirm that there is definitely an exit on the opposite side. Haven't you noticed that we are walking on an underwater path? Only then did she pay attention to the other side. She turned to Ni Bao. Ni Bao, do you remember? In our master's library, there was once a diagram of a mechanism like this. Hearing her say that, Ni Bao also recalled. I'm only interested in medical books. I didn't pay much attention to mechanism diagrams. Hearing her, Ha Chu also asked, Young lady, do you know how to disable this mechanism? She hesitated, uncertain. I think I've seen a formation like this before. She pointed towards the exit and explained. The arrangement of these stone pillars is complex. Among them, there's only one safe path. As long as we follow the correct sequence to pass through, we won't trigger the pillar's mechanism. But hearing the but meant there was a catch. Sure enough, she scratched her head. I don't really remember the sequence. She calmly walked over and said, let me give it a try. It probably won't be too difficult. Of course, he couldn't let her go alone like that. Wait a moment. His face was red with embarrassment, but he insisted on following her. It's too dangerous. I'll go with you. In contrast, her expression didn't change, or rather, she had no other thoughts and simply replied, all right. Bao also reminded her from the side, which, you have to be careful. Why is your face so red you're sweating buckets? My apologies. She didn't understand what he meant. Suddenly, he picked her up and jumped across these spots. Tuc Mok cheered wildly from below. The boss is mighty. They landed safely. He then asked her where to next. This time, she blushed a little moved. Go left. The two of them continued to dash across just like that. Suddenly, he stepped on something. His face filled with alarm. Not good. It's a mechanism. As soon as he finished speaking, hundreds of arrows shot out. They came from both sides. There was almost no room to escape. The group on the other side called out in alarm, "Boss," which, on the other side, the two of them had taken cover below. But human strength has its limits. His hands were trembling, but at the same time, he didn't forget to reassure her. "Hold on tight. As soon as the rain of arrows stops, I'll get you up." Seeing this, she grew worried. "Patron." Just as he said, when the arrows stopped, he would lift her up, but it meant she would go up and he would go down. She called out in panic, "Patron!" He was just moments away from falling. Just then, a hand with thin threads timely wrapped tightly around his arm. It was Ha-Chu helping him now. She reminded him, "Hold on tight." Finally, he climbed up safely. She asked with concern, "Patron, are you all right?" He sat down to rest for a moment before replying, "I'm fine." On the other side, both Tuc Mach and Bao were ready. "Boss, we're coming." As for Ha-Chu, she seemed to have figured it out. "I roughly understand this formation now. Let me lead the way next." On the other side, a man came to report, "Great chieftain, we've searched everywhere. We haven't found Ha-Chu." Hong Lu rested her chin on her hand, thinking, "That's strange. They don't have a boat. There's no way they could have left the island." She seemed to have guessed something. "Don't tell me they ran to that place?" With that, she turned and gave an order. "Ma-Tu, ergo, come with me to check that place." Wai Van, eavesdropping on the side, asked, "Which place is that?" Hong Lu didn't answer immediately, only saying, "Don't ask, just follow." On the other side, they had to exclaim in admiration, "We really passed through smoothly." The witch turned to speak to Ha-Chu. "Patron Ha, you're truly amazing. You must be very knowledgeable about mechanisms, right?" Ha-Chu reverted to her old self, replying concisely, "I know a little. Let's go." The exit should be right ahead. In front of them was a corridor with nothing special about it. Their group stepped out. The light from outside was a bit dazzling for her. The boys, however, were surprised again. I'm telling you, nothing is missing. There are weapons next to it and armor. Standing before this room, everyone had a marvel. This is a weapon supply depot. Tuc Mach was curious and fidgety. "Boss, this place is full of explosives." He looked around and considered. "The whole room is full of weapons and explosives. Is this female pirate planning a rebellion?" Ha-Chu added from the side, "With enough troops, this is enough to take down a city. It seems she has been plotting for a long time." He then turned back to question her. "Then what about you? Who are you? You've known about the situation here for a long time. You led us here to test the mechanisms, didn't you?" "Ha-Chu's my clip-tico." Why would young Masterka say that? Aren't we all standing here safely now? She continued, "This place is the Lu Tui camp's weapons cache, but it's also an escape route. If we find the path they use, we can get out. Isn't that right?" The witch, listening from the side, found it reasonable. What Patron Ha says seems to make sense. Then before she could finish her sentence, footsteps approached. He went on alert, conveniently grabbing a bow and arrow. Another sound was heard. Someone's coming. He was already in position, ready to draw his bow and shoot. The door suddenly opened at that moment. His arrow also flew forward from there. But he never expected the person pushing the door open was Hong Lu, and she was walking in. The main thing is, as I just said, even Hong Lu paid no attention to the approaching arrow. Luckily, Wyvan managed to grab it in time. "Big Lu, be careful." She turned her head to look, and it turned out to be a familiar face. "Shower, you really are here." He was stunned, his mouth stammering. Mother, Tuc Mach at the side, also recognized her. "Madame Gay." The witch marveled from aside. "This is Patron Ku's mother. She's so beautiful." Seeing the witch, Wai Van's eyes lit up so brightly that she broke the bow and arrow. "Young lady, there's a young lady next to shower." He bowed respectfully. "Your son is incompetent," causing Mother to fall into enemy territory. But she basically paid him no mind, immediately rushing towards the witch. Mother, by now, she was already beside the witch. "Such a graceful young lady," she asked eagerly and rapidly. "Young lady, what is your name? How old are you this year? Where is your home? How many people are in your family?" Just after the praise, the witch was now in a bind. Stammering, "Xiao Xiao." Before she could finish, Wai Van hugged her. "Your name is Xiao Xiao? How adorable. That rotten kid, Ku Qiu, has finally seen the light. When will you two get married?" The witch heard the most important phrase and shouted, "Get married?" Ku Qiu then ran over to explain. "Mother, you've misunderstood. It's not what you think." At the door, only Hong Lu looked around and asked, "Ha-Chu, I spared her life that day, and this is how you repay me?" Ha-Chu then revealed her true face. Based on your skills alone, I was merely pretending to be captured by you. Now the location of your weapon's cache has been exposed. I'll give you one last chance to choose. Her face sinister. Submit to His Highness Prince Yu, or be annihilated. You choose for yourself. He turned to look when he heard her speak. Prince Yu. He was just now vaguely guessing her identity. You're also from the Imperial Court. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook everything around. The people around panicked. What's happening? It exploded. The crowd rushed over. At the underground cache, flames flared up in waves, smoke enveloping the small village. A moment before, everyone was still inside handling business. He asked again, "You're from the Imperial Court?" Once more, he voiced his speculation. "Prince Yu sent you." Ha-Chu then explained. At first, Prince Yu tried to recruit the Lu Tui camp, but you refused to submit, instead secretly stockpiling military supplies. She continued, "I pretended to attack the camp and get captured by you precisely to probe for your trump card." Everyone there continued to listen to her explanation. "And you deluded yourself into using me as a bargaining chip. On the contrary, you helped me quite a bit." Her expression didn't change at all. "Now that I've found the hidden weapons cache, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to Prince Yu or be destroyed. You choose." Wai Van, who was hugging the witch, finally spoke up. "Submitting to Prince Yu and being destroyed, aren't they the same thing?" Her eyes turned sharp and cold. If it weren't for Prince Yu, how would Big Lu's family have been shattered and her relatives lost? He then turned back to ask her, "Mother, you know this female pirate?" Hearing that, she immediately corrected his address. "What do you mean, Lo? She is Mother's childhood friend." Not forgetting to tell the witch, "Good girl, you should call her that too." After everyone had spoken, it was Hong Lu's turn to speak. "My Hong family has been loyal for generations. To protect Prince Yu, we were forced to obey the Prince Regent's orders. After Prince Yu came to power, he regarded my Hong family as treacherous sycophants and executed the entire family. If my mother hadn't taken me out of the capital when I was young, how could I still be alive today?" Hearing this, Ha-Chu could only laugh scornfully. "You say the Hong family were loyal officials? They were just turncoats retaliating when they saw the Prince Regent's time was up." She continued, "Now, His Highness Prince, you have shown mercy and won't pursue your crimes, yet you are still ungrateful." At this, Hong Lu gradually couldn't contain her anger. "You, such fine words. Bullshit. This old lady will not live under the same sky as that damned brat from the Golden House." Only now did Tuc Mok get a chance to act, and he flared up too. "You water flea, are you tired of living? How dare you call His Highness Prince Yu by his name directly, you utterly disrespectful thing." Bao stood silently to the side, not knowing what to say. The situation had changed. Now it was Hong Lu and Tuc Mok having a verbal spar. "You shorty, who are you calling a water flea?" Tuc Mok refused to back down and retorted, "I'm talking about you, so what?" He was only now reflecting on it. This journey had truly been full of suspicious things. First, it was Kodam Chu, and now Ha-Chu. She was under Prince Yu's orders to recruit the river pirates. He recalled each part of the journey. They could have brought troops to surround the den, so why did they have to be so sneaky? As he thought, he looked at Ha-Chu, using these kind of tricks. Seeing the two of them bickering nonsensically, he cut in and asked, "His Highness Prince Yu is magnanimous and righteous. He would certainly not do something like murdering loyal officials. There must be a hidden story in this." As soon as he finished, Hong Lu turned and scolded Wai Van. "How could Wai Van have a foolish son like you? Didn't she tell you the story of that year?" Wai Van now seemed almost unconcerned with worldly matters. The grudges of the previous generation. Why make the younger generation bear them? "It's enough that I know." Hong Lu was about to explode. In short, the deep-seated blood feud of the Hong family. I will definitely make him pay a debt of blood with blood. Ha-Chu replied, "If you're going to be so stubborn, then don't blame me." Hong Lu asked back, annoyed, "You're in my hands now, what else can you do?" Ha-Chu gracefully pulled something from her sleeve. "For the great cause of His Highness Prince Yu." Her face showed no fear. "I'll use you all as a sacrifice." As she finished speaking, she lit a fire. He shouted a fuse. The rest of the group was even more terrified. "You scum, what are you planning to do?" She threw it down without hesitation. "His Highness Prince Yu." And so, a pair of eyes reflected the gleam of fire. On this side, Truck Q had managed to get help from the old man from before. Shouts were everywhere. "Put out the fire. The great chieftain is still inside. Put out the fire quickly." The boat was still out there. In the sky, a bird flew away to another place. a magnificent and splendid capital city. A eunuch came in to report. Reporting, Your Highness Prince Yu. Ku Qiu is escorting the crown prince and is about to arrive in the capital. Before him was His Highness Prince Yu. He just hummed an acknowledgement. It's time. Flashing back to the time before, the world ruled by the Prince Regent was plagued by famine everywhere. The people could not survive. A child's voice rang out. Father, the little girl wailed, don't sell me to the brothel. This was none other than a young Ha Chu, but despite her screams, her father still sold her to the brothel. The brothel's lights shone brightly the moment she was sold into the pleasure house. Inside, there were only the amusements of men. Ha Chu sat there with sorrowful eyes. I thought this was the end of my life. Before her were the pleasures of the rich. Behind her were the destitute, poor suffering from hunger and cold. Then on another occasion, His Highness, Prince Yu, Ha Chu, now older and more graceful. All the people cheered for Prince Yu. His Highness, Prince Yu, and she suddenly realized it's you outside were the sounds of cheering. Long live His Highness, Prince Yu, igniting a flame. The image of Prince Yu at this moment looked so radiant. This image had crept into Ha Chu's heart since who knows when, into my hopeless life. At this moment, she could only blend into the crowd to look at Prince Yu. Back then, I broke through every barrier to reach you. The nights as a courtesan, the times in the brothel, surrounded by corrupt officials. On a special day, dealing with enemies both in the shadows and in the open, Ha Chu walked to Prince Yu's side. But why do your eyes and brows, watching your retreating back, still look so lonely and desolate? Returning to reality, merging with the water, along with my flesh and bone. In my heart, there is a person gentle as jade, the finest in the world. Ha Chu risked her life, giving her all for him. Ha Chu carried her thoughts with her as she merged with the water, just like him. 1. I wish for peace in the world. At the same time, she also witnessed the moment Ku Qiu saved Fu Tui. 2. I wish for incorruptible officialdom. 3. I wish for the people to live in peace and happiness. 4. I wish she trailed off here. She saw Ku Qiu desperately trying to save Fu Tui. He was giving her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Seeing that image, Ha Chu's eyes filled with many emotions, remembering her previous wish. I only wish that you would glance at me one more time. He had now brought Fu Tui to the surface, leaving Ha Chu to sink slowly behind with all her thoughts. Just a glance would have been enough. Up above, everyone was shouting continuously to save them. Pull them up, quickly, go back in the water and search. She lay in his arms, groggily waking up. Ni Bao, Hong Le stood abo ziving order. Help up his room, quickly. To his room, everyone stood around. Wai Van was treating his wounds. She reassured them. Don't worry, it's just a superficial wound. Hong Lu, sitting above, also said to Ku Qiu, great nephew, rest assured. This old lady's wound medicine is the best there is. Hearing that, he felt somewhat relieved and turned to speak to Wai Van. Mother, just as he turned, he happened to catch a rather peculiar scene. She leaned closely over Ni Bao, about to do that thing. Not only him, but Wai Van was also startled. Wai Van immediately went over and threw a blanket in Ni Bao's face. Break it up, while he hurriedly pulled her away. He frowned and asked her, what are you doing? She replied like an innocent and carefree child, saving a life, of course. Just like you did earlier, patron, yes, it was the image of him saving her in the water, normally called artificial respiration. More sweetly, it's called exchanging a kiss. The three of them heard this, and I must say, they had 3 different expressions. Wai Van walked over and nudged Ku Qiu with her elbow. Is it true or false? My good son, hurry and tell your mother. He blushed. There was no way he would tell. Saving a life was important. I didn't have time to think. She nodded upon hearing that, but her thoughts were different. Right, that year, I tricked your father the same way. The other 2 eavesdroppers also pressed for an answer. So tell us your side. Tell us. Seeing the conversation was getting ridiculous, he also walked out. In your dreams, why should I tell you? Do you still want to be sisters or not? Tell us, quick, I'm going out. He took a breath of fresh air. From sunset until the dark night enveloped everything. He had been sitting there for who knows how long. Suddenly, a voice called from behind. Patron, hearing that, he turned his head to look. She walked over and asked, what did your mother mean earlier? What does tricking your father mean? He also replied, My mother was joking. Don't overthink it. Then she also sat down next to him. Time seemed to slow down at this moment. Suddenly, they both turned to speak. Both had something on their minds. He let her speak first. You go first. She also voiced her thoughts before Damn Chu made me a bit suspicious. Now, the things that Ha Chu did make me feel that things are not that simple. Although they say hearing too much makes one imagine things, her feet dangled as she continued. But I still feel it's better to be careful. At this point, Chu spoke up, and it's related to the poisoning incident. They've already admitted to secretly hiding the munitions, so why would they die without admitting to poisoning us, I guess? She continued, someone else is targeting Ni Bao like a tiger stalking its prey. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. He looked up at the sky. This journey will be extremely dangerous for the Crown Prince. Suddenly she turned and said, I have a way. Then she boldly made a suggestion. I'll switch identities with Ni Bao. He immediately objected. No, that's too dangerous. He added, they have assassins, they have spies, and also, but I have you patron, so what is there to be afraid of? With her like this, he blushed even more. She stood up and added, what's more, suddenly she hugged him. The familiar call rang out again. Patron, she asserted, not noticing his face had turned red. Fu Tui also has the ability to protect herself and to protect you, patron. He softly called her name, Fu Tui. Then she made a decision. Let's do it. In surprise, she tossed him up like the water jug from before. Then she took a few steps and walked away. So, patron, am I formidable or what? He quickly yelled, put me down first. She waited. Was that fun? Want to play again? He screamed desperately. Don't. The two of them sat down to talk again. He asked, you're willing to do so much for him. You must really like Ni Bao, right? She nodded and replied, of course. His eyes held a hint of sadness. Then she unexpectedly continued, but the person I like the most is the Master Abbot. She recounted enthusiastically, patron, did you know? The Master Abbot is very kind. She told him about her past. When I was little, he listened quietly by her side. Seeing that, she noticed, patron, you smiled. He immediately denied it. I didn't smile. She still insisted, you did smile. He denied it again. No, I really didn't. They didn't notice that Truck Q was watching them from afar. In the old room, Ni Bao's hands twitched slightly. Wai Van, who was beside him, was overjoyed to see it. He moved at that moment. Tuc Mok rushed frantically to the door. I'll go get the boss. Before he could reach the door, it suddenly burst open. Kuchu ran in, his voice a bit rushed. Mother, Fu Tui has fainted. Only Tuc Mok was there, crying silently. He asked worriedly, Mother, what's wrong with her? Wai Van placed her hand on Fu Tui's forehead. Then her shoulders relaxed, as if a weight had been lifted. It's nothing, she explained gently to reassure him. She's just exhausted. She'll be fine after some rest. She turned and gave a quick instruction. Tuc Mok, you go to the kitchen and watch the medicine. Ku'er and I are enough here. Tuc Mok replied, Yes, madam. But unexpectedly, there was someone rather creepy outside. When Tuc Mok went out, the door slammed right into him. He asked, what are you doing? The man's explanation was very strange. Then he pounced on him. Young master, the great chieftain told me to come and see if you all need anything. Just let me know. He even tried to curry favor with Kichu. Young master, are you hungry? I'll cook some noodles for you. Tuc Mok was startled when he heard that. Don't you come near me. Wai Van, seeing this, got annoyed and yelled, what are you doing? The patient needs to rest. Saying that, she kicked these two out. Get aside and don't make noise here. Now just her and Kuchu. She spoke up. Speak, so what's this all about? He and she looked at her and explained, Mother, you've seen it too. The Crown Prince's journey this time is fraught with danger. I must take precautions. Fu Tui, standing next to him, added softly, Annie, patron and I have discussed it. I will disguise myself as Ni Bao and travel with patron by water to the capital. She continued with the rest of the plan. You will secretly take Ni Bao by land. The assassins will target us, so you and Ni Bao will be safe. Wai Van, hearing this, immediately objected with a stern face. How can that be? She added reproachfully, I never taught you to do that. When did I ever teach you to push a girl into danger? And besides, how can a girl like her pretend to be a bald monk? She replied lightly, as if it were obvious, and he doesn't need to worry about that. She pointed to her head and continued. I've always been like this by now. His ear had been pinched until it was all red. Mother, rest assured, I will definitely protect her and keep her safe. Wai Van looked at them both and finally relented. Fine, we'll do it your way. She gave him a heavy responsibility. You remember this, she emphasized. She is entrusting her life to you. He said with certainty, even if I have to risk my life, I will protect her completely. Everyone was now gathered at the crowded port with people carrying things back and forth. A person came up to him and called, "Young Master Ku, I'll give this to Brother Bao Ni to wear. For his safety and peace," he gently refused. "He is already a monk. He can't use these things." A man running past immediately retorted, "Why not? A monk needs it even more." He stopped him. "Give it to me." The man clutched the object in alarm. "How can you just touch this? If you touch it, it will lose its power." He intended to approach Ni Bao, but was blocked by him. The other man took the opportunity to pull down the cloth. He impatiently waved his hand. "Get lost." The other man looked around once. A secret crate was placed on the boat. He walked over and opened it. It was her inside. She whispered softly. "It's a success," he replied. "It's a success. Hurry up and come out." The two of them carried Ni Bao inside. He was bewildered. What success? His voice was weak. "What are you guys doing?" He could only give a brief explanation. "So that the crown prince can safely enter the capital. You'll have to endure a little hardship for now." Ni Bao said no more and complied. Suddenly, a voice echoed from outside. "Where is that carved chest? Where is my family's heirloom carved chest?" He went out and said, "Mother, the chest is here." They moved it by mistake. He watched as Wyvan shouted, "Gently, don't damage it. What kind of work are you people doing?" Suddenly, he let out a small, relieved smile. A bowl of noodles that looked quite delicious. Tuc Mok was the one who brought the bowl of noodles to him. The boat sailed further and further away under the vast sunset. Kuchu looked into the distance with a worried expression. Then he said decisively, "Hey, take me there." Tuc Mok remained calm. "Boss, we're almost at the capital. There's no need to be so paranoid, is there?" Kuchu frowned. "Haven't you noticed that boat has been following us the whole way?" The boat just drifted gently on the sea. Tuc Mok was slightly taken aback and lifted the curtain. "Boss, what now?" Kuchu thought for a moment, then decided, "We'll dock for today. I have my own way of dealing with them." Tuc Mok obeyed. "All right," then he smiled and said, "Let me go pack our things and the clothes that are drying too." The scene of the boat docking late at night. They stood before a sturdy structure, the sound of someone approaching. "Over here." The inn's attendant looked at the three strangers and asked, "Patrons, are you here for a meal or to rent rooms?" He answered without hesitation, "Rooms, 30 rooms." The attendant was surprised. 3 people in 30 rooms? Just then he continued, "His Highness the Crown Prince has announced for all the martial arts heroes and court artists to come and receive him." He continued, 30 rooms. I'm afraid that's barely enough." The attendant was shocked. "The Crown Prince?" The hotel manager rushed out to greet them. "The Crown Prince has graced our humble abode. This place is now radiant." He warmly invited, "Your Highness must be weary from the journey. You must enjoy our hot spring. Please, this way." The hot spring has been meticulously prepared. They served Kachu's group quite attentively. He cautiously turned and asked, "Well then, Your Highness the Crown Prince, you go ahead. Tuc Mok, and I will keep watch outside." Tuc Mok interjected, "Boss, you go bathe with the Crown Prince. I'll keep watch outside." He handed clothes to Kuchu. "Here, clothes for the two of you to change into inside." He took off his shirt and said, "Let me go down and test it first." He continued, "No problems, huh?" Then he looked over and saw no one there anymore. He only saw a round head enjoying itself. So comfortable. He looked and was reminded of something, a boiled egg. The more he looked at her, the funnier it seemed. A boiled egg with a face. He felt a bit awkward and said to Fu Tui, "You go ahead and soak." Hearing this, she shot up, turned to Kuchu, and asked, "Why aren't you soaking, patron?" Kuchu, with a sharp gaze, "I'm going ashore to protect you. Besides," he looked into the distance, "it's also time to pull in the net." Suddenly, a familiar figure appeared. He rushed out and charged at him, but he dodged it easily. It turned out to be Truck Q, wearing an angry expression. He was also somewhat surprised. "It's actually you?" he said coldly. "Hand over the Crown Prince." Kuchu calmly countered the attack, immediately grabbing Truck Q's arm. Then he kicked him far away. She from below spoke up, "Patron." By now, Truck Q had lost the fight. He then began to interrogate. "Take a good look. Where is the Crown Prince here?" She recognized him. "You're a patron, Truck Q." He angrily questioned, "Whose man are you really?" A loud thud was heard. He had fallen. She hurriedly called out, "Patron." Then he looked down at the water and discovered something. This is Truck Q was suspicious. Purple ox powder, it becomes poisonous upon contact with water. He was startled. Could it be that he wasn't the one who poisoned it? He pulled up his sleeve. At the same time, on TUC Mock's side, he was saying loudly, "All right, let me go pack our things." And the clothes are drying too. But he looked a bit strange compared to usual. He was pensively composing a poem. In the Milky Way, in the deep blue sky, there's a small white boat. After realizing the danger of the purple ox powder, she rushed over. Patron. Her leg was hit quite hard at this moment. Suddenly, TUC Mock walked in and shouted loudly, "Success!" She was startled and called out, "TUC Mock, patron que." He was surprised and didn't understand what was happening. "Why is it you? Where's my crown prince? Where did my big lump of a crown prince go?" Flashing back to Ku Chiu's earlier years, his arrows hit their mark every time. Everyone was in awe. Shadow Guard Ku Chiu is promoted to the 5th leader of the Thousand Crane sect. Dup Mok Chi Zai Fu Li. Boss is mighty. Everyone hailed him, Shadow Guard Ku Chiu. The praises were endless. Promoted to Centurion Constable of the Thousand Crane sect. TUC Mock continued to cheer. Boss is domineering. Elsewhere, Ku Chiu was warmly welcomed. "Greetings, Lord Luke. Greetings, Lord Ma," he said. The two officials replied, "Lord Ku, you are too kind." The narration continued. Centurion Constable Ku Chiu is promoted to Commander of the Thousand Crane sect. Over at a magnificent mansion. That was the Ku residence. The surrounding commoners discussed, a great benefactor. Lord Ku Chiu is a great benefactor. The flag by the Ku family home flew continuously. The flying lanterns created a romantic scene. In the following days, the Grand Duke came to deliver a decree. Chief Commander Ku Chiu is promoted to Chiliarch of the Thousand Crane sect. The pinnacle of fame, Sect Master of the Thousand Crane sect, Ku Chiu, his merits are unparalleled. His reputation spreads far and wide. Specially appointed as Grand Marshal and Military Commissioner, he solemnly received the decree, bestowed the title of a renowned scholar. TUC Mock was always supportive. Boss. And the final reward was announced, awarded 10,000 households and a hereditary title. TUC Mock had always been by his side like that. But unexpectedly, elsewhere, the sound of things breaking was heard. He sat alone in a corner. You can never completely know the true thoughts of others. TUC Mock now appeared with a look of extreme jealousy and anger. Damzu, Getu. On what grounds? What you can do, I can do too. He questioned. On what grounds? Is it just because you have good parents? He was resentful about the special favors, specially appointed as Grand Marshal and Military Commissioner and awarded 10,000 households and a hereditary title. I spit on it. He stood up and paced back and forth. Shadow Guard TUC Mock of the Thousand Crane sect is appointed as Grand Marshal and Military Commissioner, bestowed the title of a renowned scholar. His expression was smug, awarded 10,000 households. Then he burst out laughing. Your humble servant TUC Mock receives the decree. The sunset descended just like that. There are villains in every era. In the room, Prince, you was sitting quietly, and those who use villains are countless. And our Prince, you will not be the last. In another area, Prince, you was interrogating TUC Mock. Shadow Guard TUC Mock, you will eliminate the Crown Prince for this prince. He added, Ku Chiu has already been sent to welcome the Crown Prince back to the palace. Dukmok nen let dao, si len. Prince, you looked at him, not wanting to speak. Suddenly, he spoke up. Shadow Guard TUC Mock, his merits are unparalleled. His reputation spreads far and wide. Returning to the present, he made a cruel decision. If that's the case, then silence them and then pursue the Crown Prince. He was angry. If this prince officially ascends the throne, I will definitely appoint you as Grand Marshal and Military Commissioner and bestow upon you the title of a renowned scholar. As he finished speaking, he shot an arrow at him. The sound of an arrow hitting its mark rang out. It was him taking the blow for her. She called out, Ku Chiu, awarded 10,000 households and a hereditary title. TUC Mock discovered something terrifying. My purple ox powder, he shouted, how can this be? He turned back, his eyes full of hatred. Suddenly, he grabbed on a truck cue. TUC Mock then rushed forward, intending to stab him. Unexpectedly, he grabbed truck Q and threw him towards TUC Mock, killing two birds with one stone. The scene was quite chaotic. Ku Chiu said softly, run. Then she supported him and ran outside, under the night sky of the mountain forest. She was running through a forest of flowers when he suddenly collapsed. She called out worriedly, patron, continuously calling patron. She shook Kuchu, patron, wake up. Suddenly, she became determined. Patron, this humble monk will definitely save you. She continued to call, patron. Then she kissed him the way he once did. In the quiet space of the hot spring, a strange sound suddenly echoed. A few people from the inn came over and asked, what was that sound? Someone noticed Truck Q had escaped by jumping over the roof. Who was that? The group asked worriedly. Where is His Highness the Crown Prince? Outside, Truck Q had escaped safely. Suddenly, a hand pulled him. Fu Tui spoke up, asking for how Bajan Juku. She hurriedly pulled him back. Quick, follow me. Truck Q replied coldly, get out of the way. He hurried off to his mission. I must find the real crown prince quickly. But he hadn't run far before he was pulled back by a hand. She pulled him along. There's no time. There's no time. Over here, later in that forest, she spoke up. Patron Truck Q, look quickly. Truck Q stared blankly at the scene before him. Fu Tui asket pu dao. Why won't he wake up no matter how much I blow? What now? He walked over, not believing his eyes. She was still naive. Patron, why don't you try? Truck Q stopped her and explained the poison's properties. No need. Purple ox powder becomes poisonous upon contact with water. Describing the dangerous symptoms of the poison with an experienced look, the poisoned person will first feel uncomfortably cold all over, and eventually their blood will coagulate and they will die. Truck Q decided to save him immediately. Although this poison is dangerous, as long as internal energy is used to force the poison out, it will be fine. He ordered her, you go gather some firewood to keep him warm. I will detoxify him. She obediently nodded, okay. At this time, Truck Q focused his internal energy to detoxify Kuchu. Fu Tui asked worriedly, Patron Truck Q, how is it? Truck Q replied, the poison is neutralized. You take care of him. He said to Fu Tui and quickly left. I still have things to do. I can't stay long. Fu Tui was grateful and sincerely asked him, Patron Truck Q, you have saved us twice. How can this humble monk repay you? Patron? Truck Q didn't turn back. Just wave goodbye. No need. Just consider it repaying the debt for the temple. In another place, a voice called him, Kuchu. He turned his face to look, but there was no one, only the voice calling Kuchu. Then he pondered the meaning of the name with a pensive expression. A name is just a name. Memories of his glorious past flooded back. Everyone called him Lord Kuchu, countless people, countless times. With all sorts of purposes, everyone surrounded him. Lord Kuchu, Lord Ko. These words used to annoy me. Kuchu suddenly heard a familiar voice calling him to wake up. Kuchu, wake up. He realized a change within his heart, but he didn't know since when the image of girls around him praising him. Lord Kuchu is so handsome. What else? The sound of people calling his name kept echoing. Kuchu. He felt there was one voice. A girl standing in the distance called him. Kuchu. Her voice was like a spring breeze. He walked closer, stirring the strings of my heart. That girl turned around with a wig on and called his name, Kuchu. Suddenly, a crowd of people came around calling his name, Lord Ku, Lord Kuchu. He turned his face. All were fake faces, Kuchu. The moonlight tonight is brilliant. He woke up from a long dream. He suddenly realized it was her, lying there calling his name, Kuchu, Kuchu. He hugged her and let out a soft breath, so it was sleep paralysis. On the other side, Tuc Mok shouted loudly, chasing the crowd away. The crowd hurriedly chased after him, calling, don't run, compensate us first. He ran out, panting, then stopped to think. The leopard cat exchanged for the crown prince. He wondered, but I clearly saw the crown prince board the boat, so when was the switch made? He suddenly recalled the moment the man pulled down the cloth. He suddenly remembered his precious chest and his worried expression. Where is my flower-carved chest? Where has my ancestral flower-carved chest gone? He recalled the image of Nam-Wai Van and Kuchu talking. Mother, the chest is here. They delivered it by mistake. Nam-Wai Van carefully protected the chest. Gently, don't break it. What kind of work do you people do? Tuc Mok finally realized the painful truth. The crown prince was still in Nam-Wai Van's hands. In another building, the group of soldiers was fast asleep. Fu Tui wondered and looked bewildered. Patron, please signal more quietly. She was somewhat timid. Patron, does doing this count as theft? I never expected a righteous-looking patron to do this kind of thing. Kuchi replied reasonably, I'm just here to retrieve our luggage. It doesn't count as theft. If you must put it that way, then you'd be considered an accomplice. He quickly analyzed the situation. Tuc Mok must have guessed that my mother brought the crown prince into the capital. He led her away, We must leave immediately, or the crown prince will be in danger. She agreed, all right. At the same time, in the palace, Truck Q was standing in a corridor. The sound of a flower branch being cut seemed to signal something. Truck Q reported with a fearful expression, reporting to Master, the Crown Prince's route has been discovered by Prince Yu's dogs. I fear he has already been brought into the palace. This subordinate has been negligent and begs for Master's punishment. Kodam Chu calmly trimmed the flowers and asked in return, what do you think of how this flower has been trimmed? Truck Q was visibly frightened. Kodam Chu continued, no matter how it grows, it can always be trimmed into the shape I desire. Truck Q did not dare to disobey. Master designed it personally. Of course, there are no flaws. Kodam Chu order. Go. He calculated the final step. Whether the crown prince can be controlled by me still depends on this final step. On Ku Chu's side, he quickly got Fu Tui on their way. He held out his hand to her. Let's go. On horseback, he reminded her, hold on tight. And so they set off. Along the way, they stopped by a small stream. Ku Chu asked about her future. Fu Tui, once this is all over, do you have any plans? She answered naively, I want to travel everywhere, then return to Tien Hoa Temple to continue my cultivation. Master told me to participate in the temple selection, but now that I've missed it, I can only wait for the next opportunity. He wondered, go back to being a nun? She nodded. Master is getting old. I think Ni Bao probably won't be able to return, so I still have to go back and fulfill his filial duties in his place. Ku Chu looked at her with affection and contemplation. Fu Tui, you come from the deep mountains, gentle and kind. Since we met, he suddenly recalled, through so many situations, through so many events, through every surprise, through each time, through each incident, it's what I can never forget. He thought, she is so innocent and pure. How can I be at ease with her entering the martial world alone? And how can I not care? He asked worriedly, if something else happens and you can't return to Tien Hoa Temple, what will you choose to do? She replied with her belief in fate. Master said that to meet is fate. If destiny comes, one must naturally follow it. Ku Chu probed further. If one day someone asks for your hand in marriage, what will you do? She laughed innocently. Ask for my hand? This humble nun is a cultivator. No one would ask for a humble nun's hand in marriage. Ku Chu gave a pained laugh to himself and lamented his fate. He felt a sense of existential doubt. What karma did I create in my past life? The hazy silhouette of the capital city appeared. The sound of galloping horses rang out, and the two finally arrived in front of the commander. Ku Chu called out, open the gates. Mother, your son is home. Hearing this, Nam-Wai Van ran out to greet her son. Chua, you're back. She quickly led the two inside. Come in quickly. What on earth happened? Are you injured? Is it serious? Ku Chu asked immediately. Mother, where is the crown prince? We must take him and leave at once. She answered worriedly. The crown prince was just taken away by Tuc Mok. He came in a hurry, saying you all had been exposed. You ordered him to take the crown prince away immediately, and he even brought your token. Ku Chu realized in horror that he had been tricked. The crown prince was taken by him. She was also stunned. Ni Bao was taken by him. Suddenly, a group of people arrived, surrounding the commander. By order of Prince Yu, arrest the traitor Ku Chu. The scene of soldiers surrounding the commander. The commander ordered, surround it. No one is to escape. Then the group charged in. The official came forward and stated the reason, relaying Prince Yu's verbal command. A secret report has been received that Ku Chu of the Thousand Crane sect has threatened the crown prince and is plotting a rebellion. Prince Yu orders Ku Chu to the palace for questioning. Ku Chu calmly replied, Prince Yu certainly receives news quickly. Wyvern looked worriedly at her son, Tuer. That official said contemptuously, if you please, Lord Grand Marshal of the Thousand Crane sect. Ku Chu said calmly, let's go. She came over and took his hand, wanting to follow. She whispered beside him, patron, I'll go with you. I can't rest easy with Ni Bao in the palace. Get you not that anzai. Wyvern held her son's hand and instructed Tuer what I told you. Don't you forget it. Those words were, she entrusted her life to you. Even if it costs you your own life, you must protect her and keep her safe. Ku Chu walked into the palace alone. Before him was Prince Yu. He bowed in salute. Your Highness, Prince Yu. Prince Yu sneered. You finally come. Come here. Elsewhere, there was a knock on the door. Kodam Chu and Truck Q unexpectedly appeared at the gate of the commander. Wai Van rushed out, coming. Upon opening the door and seeing the two strangers, she wanted to close it again. Kodam Chu, why is it you? Kodam Chu greeted her. It's been a long time, Lady Ko. Why haven't tried to drive him away? Get out. The Ko family does not welcome you. Fortunately, he managed to block the door to negotiate. Lady Ko, Calm down. Don't be hasty. This Ko has come this time to cooperate with you. He mentioned their common goal. I'm sure you are aware. The last wish of my older sister, the late Empress, was that if one day the two princes were to fight for the throne, we should help the crown prince eliminate the traitors. Our goals are now the same, and I can also help you rescue young Master Ko. She replied, and then let Lady Ko become the regent. Is that it? He continued, my lady, you and Hong Lu, one in the light and one in the dark, have made arrangements in the capital. If I can detect them, then Prince you surely can as well. Without anyone by your side to help, I fear it will be difficult for just the two of you to succeed. Ko Dam Chu urged, whether you cooperate with this Ko or not, I hope you will consider it carefully. He used Ku Chu to pressure her. Young Master Ku's life depends entirely on your decision. Wai Van's hands trembled as she was deep in thought and hesitation. Over where Ni Bao was, a soft voice called from outside the door. Ni Bao, Ni Bao. When he opened the door, he was surprised. Fu Tui. She was overjoyed, Ni Bao. I've finally found you. Ni Bao wondered, Fu Tui, why are you here? She explained, I came into the palace with Patron Ku. I snuck away to find you. Let's go quickly. Hearing this, Ni Bao's expression changed. Kuchu told you to come? He quickly grabbed her hand. Fu Tui, don't believe his words. We've all been tricked by him. She didn't understand. Patron Ku tricked us. That's impossible. The patron saved us so many times. Ni Bao incite Fu Tui, listen to me. Meanwhile, Kuchu and Prince Yu were in a confrontation. Prince Yu asked, Kuchu, have you finished considering? He threatened, be loyal to this prince and build a great enterprise with this prince. Kuchu replied with spirit, if the crown prince ascends the throne, being loyal to you, your grace is treason. By doing this, does your grace intend to assassinate the one ascending the throne? Prince Yu replied, being loyal to this prince is being loyal to the crown prince. What's the difference? It's just a title. Kuchu stood up and exposed the plot. A title? For this title, you borrow my reputation. Publicly, you sought the crown prince to return to the capital and inherit the throne, but you secretly sent TUC Mach to follow and cause harm. Behind the scenes, you sent your confidants to weave a net of influence in the martial world. It's clear from the beginning that you have been eyeing the imperial throne. Kuchu affirmed, I, Kuchu, swear to be loyal to the crown prince until death and will not be swayed in the slightest by others. Prince Yu suppressed his anger, stubborn fool. Then Prince Yu convicted him. Grand Marshal of the Thousand Cranes sect, Kuchu, has threatened the crown prince and plotted a rebellion. Take him to the celestial prison to await judgment. Then 2 soldiers came and seized him. Kuchu frowned. Your conspiracy will not succeed. Prince Yu glanced sideways. Just rely on your commander and the Lutui stronghold. What trouble can you possibly cause? Prince Yu announced his plan. At noon tomorrow, the grand ceremony for the crown prince's enthronement will be held. We shall wait and see. Afterwards, a servant brought an imperial edict. Your Highness, please affix your seal. He looked at it for a moment and finally affixed a seal. This news eventually spread outside. Prince Yu issues the enthronement order. Prince Yu issues the order. The crown prince has returned from his cultivation. By the late emperor's final edict, he will inherit the throne. The grand enthronement ceremony will be held at noon tomorrow. The notice was also posted. To celebrate the new emperor's ascension, the curfew will be lifted for 3 days. Let the people celebrate together. Inside the Ku manor, Wai Van was commanding the troops. Reporting to the lady, all of the Ku family army in the capital has been assembled. She said to the soldiers, brothers, the fate of the realm is at stake. Victory or defeat depends on tomorrow. All the soldiers chanted in unison. We swear to protect the crown prince to the death. Elsewhere, Truck Q reported, Master, Nam Wai Van has made her move. Ko Dam Chu leisurely stroked a pigeon. The good show is about to begin. On Prince Yu's side, he had also planned something. Do you understand what I want you to do? A subordinate replied, we will act only after the crown prince's enthronement ceremony is complete. This subordinate understands. The bird also flew away. Each person had their own plan, as long as it was understood. The pigeon's wings flew far, like each person's desire, and he was the one locked in prison. A great undertaking will be achieved. At noon the next day, the enthronement ceremony began. Many people lined up for this grand ceremony. The edict was read aloud. By the mandate of heaven, the emperor proclaims, our youngest son has been chosen by heaven. His character is noble, and he has undergone trials. Everyone looked forward, while some listened silently from behind. He has also been guided by an immortal for many years and has a deep understanding of the art of governance, which greatly pleases us. He can certainly inherit the great lineage. Now, he shall succeed us and ascend the throne as emperor. May all the princes work together with one heart to assist the new monarch. At the same time, Honglue's people had planted the explosives. Chieftainess, the explosives are all set. She replied, excellent. Watch your old lady here blow his ass to kingdom come. The edict continued. May the important ministers of the court devote themselves to assisting and supporting the state. Respect this. As the words ended, Honglu also threw the torch in her hand. Nibao took the imperial edict. Your son and subject respectfully obeys the sacred decree. Elsewhere, the fuse was burning very quickly. Suddenly, the explosives detonated. Everyone panicked. It exploded. It's on fire. Guards, protect His Majesty. Protect His Majesty. The scene became chaotic. Everyone was running around frantically. It's on fire. Hurry, put out the fire. Prince Yu smirked. The soldiers anxiously protected Nibao. Your Majesty, hurry over here. Your Majesty, run. Prince Yu's assassin attacked Nibao. She had just peeked out when the blade was already upon him. Surrender your life. She screamed, Nibao. That assassin had stabbed Nibao. Ko-Dam Chu was also surprised. Only Prince Yu smiled with satisfaction. She ran over to catch him, Nibao. The people were all stunned. The new emperor has passed away. She continuously called his name, Nibao. Prince Yu acted immediately. The new emperor has passed away. This prince failed to protect him, a crime that cannot be forgiven. The servants beside him called out, Your Highness, Prince Yu. He then proposed, Our nation's land and state cannot be without a ruler. This prince is willing to continue managing state affairs in the interim, arrange the new emperor's funeral, and hunt down the assassin. Cheers began to ring out, Your Highness, Prince Yu. This old servant implores Your Highness, Prince Yu, to inherit the throne. Yes, only with His Highness, Prince Yu, inheriting the great lineage can the nation's peace be guaranteed. The voices of praise grew more numerous. We implore Your Highness, Prince Yu, to ascend the throne. Suddenly, a voice echoed from somewhere, Your Highness, Prince Yu, you're being a bit too hasty. The assassin gradually revealed himself, assassinating the new emperor at his own enthronement ceremony, plotting to usurp the throne. Such a treacherous and unrighteous act. He said loudly, Isn't this your conspiracy, Prince Yu of Jineo? To plot for the throne, you conspired to harm your own biological brother. You're truly vicious. The officials were astonished. What? Prince Yu conspired against the new emperor? Murdered his own biological brother? Is this true? Your Highness, Prince Yu. Prince Yu gritted his teeth and called out Kuchiu. He continued his accusation. First, you sent me to escort the crown prince back. Then you sent spies to assassinate him. For fame and fortune, you use such insidious methods. A person as inhumane, unrighteous, disloyal, and unfilial as this has no right to inherit the throne. The sound of horses grew closer. Wyvan arrived, leading her troops. Prince Yu of Jineo has committed insubordination and incited rebellion with the intent to revolt. Escort him to the celestial prison. Prince Yu resisted. Who dares? The officials hesitated. This won't do. If this happens, the country will have no one to inherit the throne. This matter has not yet been clearly investigated. Wyvan looked at the crowd with cold eyes. You don't believe the words of our Kuchiu. Then what if it's the brother of the late empress, the current Lord Imperial uncle? Would you believe him? Ko-Dam Chu appeared, and everyone called his name. Lord Imperial uncle. Lord Imperial uncle. What is really going on here? Ko-Dam Chu suddenly spoke up. Isn't it already clear? Prince Yu of Jineo and the Grand Marshal of the Thousand Cranes sect, Kuchiu, colluded to do evil and conspired against the new emperor. He pointed directly at Prince Yu, immediately escorted him to the celestial prison to await judgment. Kuchiu was not surprised. Well played, you're the fisherman who profits. Wyvan was shocked. Hey, this isn't what we agreed on. Are you backing out of the deal? Ko-Dam Chu paid her no mind and said, Lady Ku, your son is the one who murdered the new emperor. At this point, if you still follow my arrangements, you might just be able to save your son's life. Wyvan gave the order, Ku family army, hear my command, arrest the traitor. As she finished speaking, the soldiers seized Prince Yu. She said to Ko-Dam Chu, Prince Yu has been taken to the celestial prison. Are you satisfied now? Ko-Dam Chu praised her. Lady Ku, you've done well. His eyes glanced elsewhere. Extremely well. From out of nowhere, a group of shadow guards rushed toward Wyvan, immediately restraining her. Chukku hat an so zetjain ketiu. He just realized, truck Q. Godam Juwas over though. The entire imperial palace is in my hands, and I have chieftainess Hong, loot to thank for it. So what if you control the imperial palace? You are merely an imperial in-law. What right do you have to control the throne? Initially, you wanted to capture the crown prince to threaten the son of heaven and command the feudal lords. Now the new emperor is dead, and Prince Yu is imprisoned. What else can you do? Ko-Dam Chu was confident. If I want to ascend the throne, isn't a simple imperial edict all it takes? He ordered, someone bring the person here. A subordinate brought a eunuch who writes edicts. Master, I found the eunuch. Eunuch Xian was terrified. Lord Imperial Uncle, spare my life. He tremblingly presented the edict. The edict is written. It just needs a golden seal. Kuchu rushed forward to stop him. You dare? But he could do nothing. Wyvan saw it, forging a sacred edict. Prince Yu was not mentioned at this point. He was already restrained. Ko-Dam Chu laughed smugly. Oh no, we don't understand either. Just by stamping a golden seal on a piece of paper, one can obtain the world. Truck Q questioned him, this fool of Jin Ao. At this moment, Kuchu whispered to Truck Q, Brother Truck Q, do you really want to follow evil? Truck Q said nothing. Always having to buy fame and reputation, wanting to be legitimate and justified. Ko-Dam Chu declared the philosophy of the strong. This world has always been about the winner becomes king and the loser becomes the bandit. Kuchu prepared to fight and shouted, Do you think I'll let you succeed? Truck Q from above called out, Master. Kuchu shouted to everyone, run. She looked at him with great worry. Kuchu, her hand gripped the seal tightly. You must come back alive. A great fire engulfed the palace. Put out the fire. Hurry, put out the fire. Meanwhile, she kept running, recalling what Kuchu had told her. If it's the worst-case scenario, I will find a way to buy you time. Two guards were chatting. Come on, let's go for a drink. The other refused. That's not a good idea. The palace is in chaos right now. The first one replied, It's because of the chaos that we have free time to sneak away. Being gone for an hour or so won't matter. And so, the two of them left together. Let's go. She hid nearby, waiting for an opportunity, again remembering his words. Do what must be done. Success or failure can only be left to the will of heaven. She thought pensively, Patron. The fire continued to burn larger. She pulled Nibao along and ran quite a distance. In an old room, and more specifically, the detention area where Prince Yu was being held. He looked up and saw her taking care of Nibao. She took out a pill from her clothes. Prince Yu, standing to the side, observed, so it was a fake death as expected. He continued, Kuchu is indeed much more useful than that bunch of idiots. To think he could even get you two out. Fu Tui relayed Kuchu's message. The patron wanted me to pass a message to you. If you want to protect the Kakwan nation, then please, Prince Yu, lend the Ke family army a hand. Prince Yu looked at her askance. The crown prince is alive. Don't you think it would be better for this prince to wait for both of you to lose and then reap the benefits like the fisherman? She tried to persuade him, but in this fight, a fisherman who just stands by will surely get pecked himself. Patron Ku has discovered that Ko-Trak fam still has an army that has not yet been deployed. Nibao at this moment groggily woke up and stood right behind her. If you continue to confront the Ke family army, then in the end, you will gain nothing. Prince Yu gave a faint smile. How could a fisherman be pecked in the eye by a snipe? Nibao walked over and said to her, Fu Tui, you should leave this place. She looked on, stunned. Nibao shared his feelings. Nibao, all along the way, I've been fought over and passed around, subject to the arrangements of others. Kaka, can I call you that? Being so useless, I must have disappointed you greatly, Kaka. I didn't come here because I wanted to be emperor, but only to meet the only relative I have in this world. Nibao decided to cooperate with Kuchu, wanting to resolve the current situation. We have no choice but to cooperate. Nibao extended his hand in proposal. Brother, are you willing to trust me? Kaka. Prince Yu accepted, all right. A pleasure cooperating, younger brother. Fu Tui was being sent away by Nibao. Nibao turned and said to her, Fu Tui, you should go. This time, let me handle it myself. She stared blankly, saying nothing more. Suddenly, his image appeared in her mind. Don't turn back. Follow the path from the celestial prison to leave the palace, and you will be safe. Her retreating figure in the distance. Our fate together ends here. Meanwhile, he was still fighting fiercely. She ran outside very quickly. The other side was in chaos. Kill them. Surround them. Truck Q spoke up. Stop resisting. You've already lost. Don't make any more useless sacrifices. Kodam Chu continued. I can give you a choice. 1. Submit to me. 2. Y vont spoke up. Impossible. The Ke family would rather die than become traitors who sell out the country. Hong Lu sneered. It seems things won't go your way, will they? Kodam Chu was not worried at all. I know you, the Ke family, are not afraid of death. So, let's see you choose to watch with your own eyes as I slaughter the common people of these two cities. Everyone was shocked by his words. What? Truck Q was just as surprised, Master. Kodam Chu ignored him and gave the order. Lead the troops up the city walls for a show of force. Bring the Ke family members up the walls to watch the show. Kodam Chu asked again, have you thought it through? Will you protect these common people or the honor of your Ke family? Below, someone cheered. Lord Ke has arrived. Lord Ke, General Nam. Kodam Chu continued, to deal with foolish people like you. This is the only way. He did not understand Ku Chu's loyalty. I don't understand this vague, empty reputation and these lowly ants. He turned back to look at him and said sarcastically, what's so important about them? Ku Chu replied, a person like you is not worthy of understanding. Ku Chu recalled a reminder from someone during his training. You must prioritize the world, prioritize the common people, regardless of life or death. He had trained very diligently back then. They always told me I should be this way, I should be that way, because my surname is Ku, because I'm a son of the Ke family. Ahead, Y Van was leading an entire army. He had always wondered. In truth, I never understood. It was just that they told me I should be that way. So I was... Ku Chu suddenly understood the true meaning of responsibility. Now, I finally understand. This should they spoke of was not just for the glory of the Ke family, but more so that I would have the ability to protect the one I love in my heart, and even this era of peace and prosperity. Ku Chu made his decision. I choose neither. Kodam Chu snapped his fan shut and angrily ordered, if that's the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Truck Q, make your move. Truck Q hesitated and advised. Master, this time, Truck Q dared to stand up. Harming innocent common people is the act of a tyrant. Master, please reconsider. Kodam Chu sneered and kicked him. You also want to go against my will for this bunch of ants? He reminded him, did you think that if you don't do it, I have no other way? Cooperating with you all, he raised his hand high, was merely to use you to do my bidding, to preserve my own strength, and conveniently weaken you, a bunch of fools. Suddenly, Truck Q turned and warned, this is bad. Young Master Ke stopped him. You. He hurriedly rushed over, but it was too late. The flare had been fired. The rope also broke at this moment. And the sound of the shot just now was a firework going off. It's unknown what it signals. It's too late. Below, the soldiers panicked. Who are you? Don't come here. Cries for help echoed everywhere. Help! The sound of the flare from just now appeared everywhere. Ni Bao and Prince Yu stood from a distance. Ni Bao turned and asked, Big brother, aren't we going? Prince Yu sneered. Did you really think I didn't hold back my true strength? Aren't they here now? The sound of an army's footsteps running over. That group of people came and paid their respects. See, aren't they here now? The soldiers said in unison, Greetings, Your Highness Prince Yu. Tuc Mok looked up and said, Your Highness, is it our turn to act? Suddenly, Tuc Mok was surprised. The Crown Prince. Tuc Mok rushed forward, his hands faster than his brain. This subordinate request to redeem myself with merit. Kill the Crown Prince. Prince Yu stopped Tuc Mok. Stand down. Did this prince tell you to act? The urgent matter now is to assist the Ke family army in dealing with Kodam Chu. Tuc Mok questioned Prince Yu. If Ke Chu can do it, this subordinate can do it too. Why did your highness go to the trouble of recruiting him? He will never submit to your highness. Prince Yu explained the reason. Do you know why this prince holds Ke Chu in higher regard? Because he has held firm to his beliefs from beginning to end, placing the people of the realm first and power second. As he spoke, Prince Yu mounted his horse and rode off. Tuc Mok stood there, resentful. I must prove to the world that what Ke Chu can do, I can do too, and then also chased after him. This episode of the story ends here. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like and a share so I'll have more motivation to make more videos. Remember to follow to watch the next episodes. Wishing you all a day full of energy.